Okay, yeah. Down. Welcome, everybody.
Yes.
Welcome to the adventure. I'm the lead adventurer, Zack Peeper. This is Caitlin.
Mm-hmm.
And the blind dude in the darkness is my good friend Mason.
Speaking to you from the night itself. I fucking love that ringtone.
That's so amazing.
Well, if the first time didn't convince me there was a god, the second time did. It happened twice. It can't possibly be a coincidence.
The universe is rarely so lazy to allow coincidence to occur.
The only thing I can ask for more is a neon sign that's like, Mason, I'm real, to just appear in front of me, and it'd be the only thing that I can actually see.
Forever.
Oh my god, that would be crazy.
Oh, man.
Oh man.
From what I've gathered from religion, I was going to say that God isn't that on the nose, but I feel like sometimes he probably is, actually. Like, if he really wanted to, he'd just be like, Mason, I'm real. There, you're done.
Yes. Yeah.
If he really wants to, yes, I can tell you from personal experience that sometimes God is very on the nose.
It's a good quality to have. I often thought that about my eye doctors. I told them that the nose isn't where the problem was, but they just wouldn't listen.
Speaking of the nose, did you know that you can always actually see your nose? Your brain just kind of filters it out.
Well,
Yeah.
I feel like you're on about that on so many levels. I've never been like conscious of my nose at all.
I'm literally looking at my nose right now.
Yeah.
I've never been able to look at my nose. It's just never been possible. My field of view has never been that good.
Alrighty, so we were sent this. The first video that I'd like to pull up here is actually it's from a channel I'm unaware of.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Overly Sarcastic Productions, and the channel and the video is called Miscellaneous Myths, Hades and Persephone.
I don't believe this. This is a night full of coincidences, because just before I came on here, I was looking for something to contribute, because I never contribute anything, because my fucking YouTube feed is so boring. But I was literally looking at Overly Sarcastic Productions just before we came on, and I was looking at the Trope Talk playlist and being like, is there anything we could go through here?
Oh, nice.
And then it just ended up running out of time because you messaged me. Absolute synergy across the pond.
Brilliant.
All right, Kate, put it up on screen.
Okay, doke.
We are the hive mind.
It's you're not sharing your screen.
Yeah,
Come on, Zack.
Hey,
Sharing is
you
caring.
have the power to do it from there. Come on,
You can do anything you want, Kate. You just have to believe in yourself.
Kate, it's down at the bottom.
Okay.
In present.
Yes.
I present to you
Miscellaneous Myths.
Okay.
There we go.
Yay.
Fucking sorted, mate.
Okay, let's not kid ourselves here. Relationships in Greek mythology are almost unilaterally really bad. Zeus and Hera get some flack for Zeus's non-stop adultering with extremely unwilling mortals, and Hera subsequently punishing the innocent mortals involved, but that's got nothing on the story of their actual marriage, which I will not be recounting here because it is so far from consensual there is no way for me to be funny about it. And far from consensual is a recurring theme in the mythos. Zeus, Poseidon, and Apollo especially tend to default to kidnapping when a pretty mortal catches their eye, sometimes combined with their whole divine shapeshifting dealio to trick or coerce those mortals into banging them. If the mortal is lucky, they survive the process and gain some superpowers or kick off a lineage of heroes.
Come on, there's some world building missing here. Why do they want to sleep with the humans?
Well, I mean, because Greek
What does a
gods-
god gain for? Surely they would just go with another god. Surely a mortal cannot keep up with them in the bedroom.
I mean, I imagine that the gods want to bang humans in much the same way that certain people want to bang animals. You know what I mean?
That was not what I was expecting you to say, but it totally should have been.
You know what he means?
Oh my gosh. You know what I mean?
Oh my
Oh,
God, Mason!
man.
There's a
I
video
wish.
I'm gonna have to show you and like narrate it to you. There's something you have to be made aware of after this.
Yes.
I
You know,
I don't like that came to your brain right after the conversation we just had. That's incredibly disturbing, and I know that I'm not going to want you to show me this.
Why do you always assume the worst from me, man? Aren't we friends?
The mounds and mounds of evidence that I've been given. That's why. Like, you don't have to be Poirot to see that is the truth, my friend.
I get no respect around here.
You do. Oh my God! Fine, I like you, and you're nice.
That tasted like shit on my tongue. Your deceit dishonors our friendship, you filthy blind bastard.
It wasn't deceit. It was me bearing my awkward British heart. Okay.
Oh yeah, sure, that's what it was.
Maru!
Hey, what's up, Maru?
Oh, Maru, I love you.
Are you?
What the fuck?
Thank you for popping up right at that moment, Maru. That was perfectly timed. You threw me the ball without knowing it there.
Oh yeah.
You're the best, really, Zack. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is actually really funny because Maru's actually the one who suggested this video. Perfect.
Synergy again.
Some of Apollo's famous lovers die tragically after a fulfilling personal relationship with him, but most of them die tragically trying to outrun him.
He's
That
very
is
much the
straight up
Henry
fact,
VIII.
and everybody knows it. Check almost any Olympian god.
What was that, Mason?
He's very much the Henry VIII of the Greek mythology.
Yeah.
God's list of lovers, and you'll usually find at least one character who super didn't want to be on that list. Yes, even your favorite. Yes, even Olympian soft boy Dionysus. And I will be the first to admit that I gloss over a lot of this stuff in my videos, and I do that because it makes me incredibly uncomfortable. Can you blame me? It's not like I'm the only one. I grew up with a freaking picture book that told me Zeus was a cool guy who had a lot of cool kids that did cool stuff. I watched a Disney movie about these people. I don't have an easy time reconciling the fact that these shining heroic figures that inspired so many incredible stories were characterized as absolutely garbage in several very key ways. And when I do talk about that,
They weren't characterized that way. They
They
were
were.
that way.
Mm-hmm.
The people who originally wrote the mythos were like, no, our gods are rapists.
Right, yeah.
Which is
Like-
weird.
Yeah, that's like, these guys are totally garbage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a legend, though, basically, that these people, that basically there was a group of people that all of these gods were portrayed after, and that basically a lot of their, their powers and stuff were embellished to be a lot more than they actually were, but that a lot of this stuff was based on actual people.
And they were actually just time travelers from the future. But the paradox is, what came first? The Greek gods or the people traveling back in time?
How is that a paradox? The only way that could be a paradox is if you, oh man, you would have to fucking fuck with the timeline in such a way that okay, so it would have to be an engineered bootstrap paradox. So there would be the original timeline where the mythos was based off where the mythos was either completely original or it was based off the people that lived in that time in real life. Then, 5,000 years in the future, or whatever, time travelers go back and they mimic the mythos of the Greek gods for a laugh, supplanting the original inspiration for the mythos. Now there's a new timeline where the mythos is based off the time travelers, and more time travelers go back.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, what a clusterfuck that would be. But I mean, even in that scenario, it's still technically the Greek gods came first.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it needs to exist by the time travelers from the future going back and implanting the idea in their head and taking the tech back and all that lot.
What?
Oh Jesus! Well, why am I doing time travel? I'm saying, did the legends come first, or did the time travelers go back and create it coming first? It's like which one existed first?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suppose if what you're proposing is that in the original timeline there were no Greek gods, and then some idiots who time traveled went back and then created the mythos of the Greek gods. Yeah, I suppose that could be the original timeline. Too bad we'll never know.
Where is your adventurous mind?
My adventurous mind just outlined the entire process of how that paradox would come to exist.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I just felt stupid, so I was trying to score at least one tiny measly point, but I couldn't slip it past you.
You can't slip anything past me. My butt cheeks are too tight.
Yeah, but
That's
when
not
it's
the
lubed
rules,
up this
isn't-
much, it can get through
If
anything.
it wasn't lubed up this much.
I said, yeah, unless it's lubed up this much, and then it can get through anything, even walls. It's molecularly.
I'm fucking Ant-Man. I'll slip between the molecules.
Oh my gosh. Time travel gets too complicated the more you dive into it. Speaking of time travel, hear about Indiana. Oh, you mean Indiana Jones and the dial tone of density?
What?
Oh, that we were watching the Critical Drinker last night. And we've watched some of his stuff with you, Mason, I think.
Yeah, I know who you're on about.
Huh?
I said, yeah, I know who you're on about. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were watching his thing about the new Indiana Jones movie trailer, and the
There's
new
Indiana Jones movie coming out.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't
Right?
we all collectively agree to just not do this again?
Right?
Yes.
Am I in some Mandala universe where the last one didn't go down like a sack of shit covered in cement?
Gosh, it was like it ended though. He got his happy ending. It's like he married the love of his life, and ta-da!
Right.
It was all done.
Right. Exactly.
But, see, Kathleen Kennedy had to be like, no, it's another franchise where I can self-character insert myself as a strong female lead.
Wait, they're doing it with a woman this time instead?
No, we don't know yet. The test screenings were so the Drinkers video was about the trailer for the movie and what he's hearing behind the scenes. Because he's a movie critic, he has a few inroads into the industry and that kind of crap.
Yeah.
And apparently, it's looking like it's disastrously bad.
Yep.
And so the movie is called The Dial of Destiny, but he mad-libbed it as The Dial Tone of Density.
And from the plot line that he explained that he is privy to, from what it sounds like, that's a very fitting title. Because apparently, Dr. Jones is going to time travel back to the 1940s during World War II. And at some point during the whole thing, he's going to end up running into another, like, archaeological doctor person, but it's going to be a woman. And he's going to have to help her out with something, but then he's going to end up running into a younger version of himself. And during the course of that adventure, his younger self is going to end up sacrificing himself to save everybody.
What?
And therefore is going to make old Dr. Jones no longer exist, leaving this female character to take up his mantle, and they're going to do a spin-off Disney Plus show. Yeah.
Okay, I was with you up until 25% of that. Where I was like, you know what?
He's like, I made it a quarter of a way through that clusterfuck before I mentally checked out.
Like, up to the point where he bumps into another archaeologist, and they have an adventure together. I'm like, you know what? I can see a universe in which that could be delivered okay.
Right. Except for the last part.
Yeah, and then all of the stuff that came after that was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right then. Stop now, please.
Right. Exactly.
It's like, this is only getting worse. Put the thing up on screen, Kate. I want to read what Ruru said.
Maru.
What did he say, Caitlin?
He says, I just want to point out, no matter how bad the last one was, it at least gave it a good, solid ending. I admit I was hoping someday for a series with Indy's son in the Cold War.
Oh, see, that would have been good.
Yeah.
We could. I agree. We could. If they wanted to do a spin-off series, they should have given us they could have done a Disney Plus show, and Indiana Jones himself either could have been in the first couple episodes and then killed off, or just in the first episode and then he comes back in for an episode every now and then as
just like a cameo every now and again.
Yeah.
Right.
They go to him when the shit really hits the fan, sort of thing.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then they could even use his death as a season or maybe even the series finale. Yeah. So what they're doing is it's fucking Disney, bro. And Disney has just decided that their business model is now, we are going to beat every dead horse with every stick, every which way, until it has been reduced to subatomic pulp.
Yeah.
Oh, don't even get me started on adaptations. I got I got excited the other day. I know you're gonna think I'm lame for this, but I got excited the other day because my mate texted me. He was like, "Oh, do you know there's an adaptation of The Fat Share?" I was like, "No,
what?
I didn't know that." And The Fat Share is like a contemporary romance novel that I have read and actually rather enjoyed. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool, an adaptation of it. And it was just it was 6 episodes of me just getting increasingly irritated at the fact that they were just taking such a simple, nice story and just doing everything wrong and just outright changing things that didn't need to be changed and characterizing characters the way that they weren't. And it's just oh, I hate this. You've just ripped everything that I liked about this away and just presented me with this version of it that has all of the stuff that I liked removed.
Yeah. Because they feel the need to be doing that.
They do always be doing that shit. They're like, hey, this thing you love, what if we ruined it?
Right.
Jokes on them, because I did a 7-day trial for the Paramount Plus thing, and then just cancelled after watching that show.
You're like,
God.
I'm done with you people.
Take that, analytics.
Right.
Oh, my bad.
That will show in the analytics, people doing stuff like that.
Yes, it will.
It will.
It will.
We
Take
were like,
that, show.
Yeah, we were all excited. Oh, you disappointed us.
This guy signed up for the free trial, watched this show, and quit.
Who says, I officially gave up on adaptations after Artemis Fowl.
Yeah.
I've never seen any Artemis Fowl or read it, actually.
Yeah, they should have just left that alone. But, Disney.
I'm really hoping that Pierce Brown's Red Rising saga gets adapted to screen, because that book is one of those books that, like, it's made to be a good movie. Like, everything to make an absolutely great movie is there. They just need to stick to the fucking source material. So I hope literally any studio other than Disney gets it.
Yes. Oh my god. I mean, because
You really like that series, don't you?
Oh
Yes.
god, dude, it's so good. Dude, I read that series and I completely rewrote the first 3 chapters of Garden.
No way. It might be one that I have to check out next year.
Dude, you'll like it. You'll like it. All right. This video is 20 minutes long. We're 1 minute 1 minute and 26 seconds in.
Genuous to talk about anything else, as
Is
if
there any
that
chance
first
you could
thing
turn
is
it down
very
just a little bit? It's really loud in my headphones.
Sure.
much a
bud.
deal breaker for finding the characters heroic or compelling.
How's that?
Much better, thank you.
Basically, every modern retelling or reimagining of Greek mythology heavily sanitizes the stories in one way or another. The Greek pantheon gets given the same treatment as most beloved problematic celebrities. We love it for the stories it gave us, and we pretend not to notice the part where it won't stop assaulting underage fans, because that behavior doesn't fit the image we have of it. And that's because we, as a collective audience, are primed to think of gods as good guys. And good guys don't do that kind of thing. That'd make them bad guys. And that is exactly why only one Greek god gets consistently held responsible for these problematic behaviors. None other than Hades, Lord of the Dead and unjustified Satan analog. Because of our social biases, most of which come from the pop culture understanding of Christianity, which is the same source for our gods are necessarily good thing, a modern audience starts off primed to hate this guy. Lord of the Underworld? We all know what that means. Cartoon Lucifer, King of Hell, token evil divinity, blatant bad guy, easy peasy. And he kidnapped his wife? What an asshole. No wonder nobody hangs out with this guy. Man, what a jerk. Anyway, I just love Apollo. He's the hottest thing since hotness. And isn't it tragic how many of his true loves die? Wonder why that keeps happening. When retelling or reinterpreting ancient stories in context, we almost always end up cherry-picking the parts that make the most sense to our modern worldview and sensibilities, and working around the parts that suffer from the worst of the culture clash. Ancient Greece was pretty cool about a lot of stuff, but women, for example, were not on that list. So from a modern perspective, when we look back at these original tellings, it's very difficult to see Zeus doing his thing and conclude anything other than that the king of the gods is an omnipotent serial rapist who leaves a trail of shattered lives and bastard children in his wake, and this pantheon is a fucking nightmare. But that is not the perspective a contemporary Athenian would have had. It's not the impact contemporary storytellers would have wanted to produce, and it is not the image most modern writers want to attach to their Skyfather King of the Gods hero character. The idea that gods are supposed to be good is comparatively new. For the ancient Greeks, gods were reflections of what was true rather than what was ideal or morally right. Ancient Greece was terrible to women, so that was reflected in the gods. But to us and our pervasive pop culture Christianity, deities and divinity-adjacent figures are thought of more like paragons, idealized representations of goodness and virtue. So when we try and apply that moralized perspective to the Greek gods, we get some serious cognitive dissonance. So the adaptations usually end up buffing it out. Sure, in all but the most squeaky clean versions, Zeus is usually still cheating on Hera, which from our societal perspective is typically seen as a much more forgivable crime, especially if you also rewrite Hera to be as deliberately unlikable as possible, the Romans. But most of Zeus's trysts get rewritten as affairs of the heart, because those are almost universally seen as significantly less bad than the non-consensual alternative, a distinction that did not exist in ancient Greece.
Have you guys heard of Ilium by Dan Simmons?
No.
I think you need to check that out. I think you would dig it. it's Greek mythology. Well, it's a Trojan War setting, but there are sci-fi elements to it that become apparent as the story progresses.
Mm.
Ooh, that definitely could be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty weird, but I have a feeling that you would probably dig it, or you would hate it. So I get entertainment either way.
Right now, I'm honestly, bro. I as much as I would love to take you up on several of the reading suggestions you've given me, right now I'm just trying to work through my TBR pile of shit that people have sent me to review
Yeah, understandable.
because they've been waiting for like over a year, a lot of them now, and it's just like I'm that's a dick move.
Yeah.
Art used a lot of stock poses to signify major story beats, and there was literally no distinction between the stock pose for kidnapping and for marriage. Same result, same concept. What registers as an unforgivable crime to our eyes wasn't even recognized in the culture it came from. This specific culture clash is pretty significant, which is why this is the part that mostly gets ignored, sanitized, or otherwise rewritten for modern audiences. I mean, unless you're Hades. Because fuck him, right? We already hate that guy on principle. There's no need to clean up his image.
Because fuck him, that's why.
In fact, maybe it's better if we make him deliberately worse, just so people know who they should be rooting against. So, with that lengthy and spicy preamble out of the way, let's talk about Hades and Persephone. Now, these two show up off and on throughout the mythology, but their best-known myth, the story of how they got married, is recounted in the Homeric hymn to Demeter, written sometime around the mid-600s BCE. This is pretty much the only detailed source we have for this myth, although references to Persephone's abduction pop up in broad terms in the Theogony and the general folklore. The hymn begins with Persephone chilling in a flower field when the ground splits open, Hades erupts from the earth in a chariot, grabs her, and dives back underground. The narrator helpfully informs us that this abduction was sponsored and ordered by Zeus, Persephone's father, because Hades was in love with Persephone, but Zeus didn't think Demeter would approve, so he told him, just kidnap her. Never fails for me. Demeter, of course, gone and tears off in a fury.
That's some dark humor right there.
Until Demeter runs into Hecate.
You want to marry that bitch? Yeah, just do it, bro. Just literally just do it. Like, no, like I'm not gonna stop you, and I'm god of everything. And, like,
I fucking hate that guy. He's always been a loser. He's not good enough for my daughter. He drives a Volvo, for fuck's sake.
Wait, who drives a Volvo?
Demeter.
Oh, Demeter's her mother.
Oh, I saw that.
Fuck.
I thought that was the dude that Persephone was supposed to be married to.
No.
That's misunderstood.
No, not at all.
Okay, well, whoever the husband was supposed to be then.
Did Persephone have someone that Demeter wanted to marry her off to?
Actually, but if I tell you, I'll probably spoil the video.
It's fine. We'll just watch it, then you can correct anything that's wrong after.
Okay.
The chthonic goddess of magic, who tells her she didn't see anything, but she heard Persephone being abducted. The goddesses continue searching for her and
I
eventually
didn't see anything, but I heard a scream, and I'm pretty sure it was Persephone. It sounded like her.
Well, I heard the roll of chariot wheels and Persephone's scream as a bunch of as thousands of abyssal specters from the underworld writhed in agony at the sound of the chariot's approach.
And there was an enormous clap of thunder, and the sky was rent with lightning.
Well, that would be more if Zeus did it.
Yeah.
I suppose. Hey, you're just determined to shit all over me tonight. Screw you, buddy.
Listen to me. It's not my fault that I'm better at this than you are. I'm naturally talented and very charismatic. I swear.
I believe you.
I promise.
From his lofty vantage point, conveniently saw everything. He tells Demeter that Persephone was taken by Hades, but the blame is all on Zeus, who approved the kidnapping and gave Persephone to Hades as his wife. So this isn't really a kidnapping
Why
so
isn't
much
this
as
a TV show?
Demeter is furious,
Right.
but Helios tells her, hey, she could do a lot worse for a son-in-law. Hades is a pretty cool dude, and as king of the underworld, his divine domain is nothing to sneeze at. As firstborn son of Kronos, the world was his by birthright, and even if there's a bit of a delay, everyone becomes his subject eventually. Hades is basically the best husband Persephone could ever hope for, but that's pretty cold comfort for Demeter, who evidently didn't want Persephone getting married at all. She takes a bit of personal time off and disguises herself as an old woman, and ends up getting a part-time job as a nurse to the royal family of Eleusis. Fun fact,
What?
a major cult center of Demeter and Persephone that we'll talk about more later. Demeter cares for the baby prince Demophon in her own unique way, by setting him on fire. Don't freak out, it's totally cool. She's just burning away his mortality little by little, making him more and more godlike as he grows. But one unlucky night, his mother Metanira spots Demeter setting her baby on fire and freaks out, disrupting the ritual and pissing off Demeter something fierce, which at this point is becoming...
How dare you not let me set your baby on fire? Don't you know who I am?
Like, I am literally the god of magic.
And orders them to build her a temple as an apology, and when they do, Demeter takes up residence
Build
in her...
me a temple.
But she's still really pissed off and sad about Persephone, so she sits back and has a nice little sulk about it for a while. It's okay, sometimes you just gotta get it out of your system. One little problem, though. Demeter is responsible for all plant growth. Grain, fruit, vegetables, the works. Livid at the loss of her daughter, Demeter stops the plants from growing, shrouding the world in eternal winter and straight up killing quite a lot of people. Now, I think we can all agree that people are very important. After all, without people, we wouldn't have any divine sacrifices. So the Ice Age and the mass casualty of Zeus, who notices Demeter seems really upset for some strange reason. He sends Iris, goddess of the rainbow, to summon Demeter, but she ain't budging. Zeus realizes this might be a problem and sends the other gods to try and convince Demeter to stop, with offerings, gifts, anything. But none of those things are Persephone, so Demeter is unmoved. Desperate to escape the consequences of his actions, Zeus sends Hermes to Hades to see if he can convince him to let Persephone return to the surface. Hermes scoots down to the underworld and finds the couple... Well, this part of the text is a
Listen,
little
bro,
bit...
you gotta give me Persephone back. My wife, she's busting my balls.
Like, listen, man, you gotta give Persephone back. The bitches, it's winter up there, and the humans they're doing the dyings. And you know we need. Listen, if all of the humans are doing the dyings, who am I going to do the rapings to's?
Oh my god. We've discovered that not only can Kate do Sharon Osbourne, but you can do Adam Sandler almost perfectly.
It's great.
Oh man, that's funny.
Oh dear.
That was 100% Adam Sandler.
That's so funny.
I can see it based on listening to some of his comedy albums. Yeah, I can see the comparison there. It very much is the voice he does when he's doing like the mom characters.
I was trying to give it like a gritty undertone, but you had to come in with a rubber chicken and beat me off. Oh, I was going to say beat me off then.
Mason wants me to beat him off with a rubber chicken.
Oh
That was great, Cheerio, mate.
And I'm off to drown myself. See you later.
The fact you did the sound effect for the toy.
He just did that in a church.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Just make everything that you do so much more funny.
Isn't
Yep.
that great?
Because everything you do it in a church. And it's just endlessly funny.
Yep. It's okay. I'll do another stint in the void for my audience's amusement.
Oh
Fuck
my
it. You know what I mean?
gosh, Jeremy.
basically, Hades and Persephone are hanging out, and Persephone seems kind of bummed out and missing her mom. Hermes explains the whole Demeter murdering everyone situation, and Hades is like, oh balls, that doesn't sound good. Yeah, no, Persephone, absolutely go and talk to her. He also takes a minute to ask Persephone not to be sad. As his wife, she'll be a queen of queens, ruler of the dead and highest among the goddesses, and meanwhile, he will work to be the best husband he can be for her. Overjoyed, Persephone prepares to leave for the surface and see her mom again. But before we pat Hades on the back too hard, he does get worried that Persephone might never come back to him, so he sneaks her a few pomegranate seeds to bind her to the underworld. How that works exactly isn't really explained, mostly because this part of the only manuscript that preserves this hymn is actually torn. Gotta love those primary sources. Anyway, when the signal fuzzes back into focus, Hermes and Persephone
implants him in the back of her neck.
Persephone can't permanently
Right.
leave the underworld,
He's
presumably.
like, what was that? He's like, oh, I just gave you a little bite. It's fine. Don't worry. I was just being passionate. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Whole pomegranate situation, so she'll have to split her time between Demeter and Hades. Demeter's just happy to have her back and stops the whole killing everybody thing, producing spring for the first time. Zeus, finally having the audacity to show his face, confirms that Persephone will need to spend roughly 1/3 of the year in the underworld. The exact fraction varies from telling to telling, but broadly, when she's not around, Demeter gets all bummed again and stops letting the plants grow as a fun callback to that time she nearly killed the entire planet, explaining the seasonal cycle very handily. With our status quo firmly established, the hymn ends. Now, there's a few surprising things about this story. For one thing, the hymn itself goes out of its way to absolve Hades of all responsibility except for the pomegranate bit. Everything else is on Zeus as father of the bride and authorizer/orderer of the kidnapping. Hades as wicked villainous kidnapper is a later interpretation unsupported by the original framing. And perhaps more surprisingly, Persephone's role in the coming of spring is fully incidental. It's Demeter bringing the world back to life, which means, functionally, Persephone isn't the goddess of spring. Spring is Demeter's job. The only thing Persephone is explicitly the goddess of is the underworld. And if we go looking through the rest of the mythology, we only find more evidence for this. The Theogony refers to the couple as stalwart Hades and dread Persephone. The Iliad does the same thing. Hades gets a few anecdotes, but is mostly referred to obliquely when the text calls the underworld the house of Hades. Meanwhile, Persephone gets name-dropped as dread Persephone on the regular. In the Odyssey, when Odysseus travels to the underworld and is tormented by ghosts, he assumes Persephone must be responsible for their actions.
That doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it? Dread Persephone.
Yeah, it should have been Dread Sephone.
Dread Seth. Now that kind of sounds like it could be a metal band.
Yeah, shoegaze metal band.
Oh, man.
We are Dread Sephone.
We are dead, Sephone.
Tonally, with the innocent flower goddess dragged into the underworld. Persephone is a straight-up queen of the dead, and if we dig a little deeper, things start looking even weirder. First of all, when we do our standard dive into Mycenaean records, we find that we have no actual evidence that Hades predates ancient Greece. And that's weird, because we have plenty of evidence that Demeter and Persephone do. Both of them are referenced in Mycenaean Linear B texts under various titles, including the collective Wanaso, meaning the two queens. And remember that, we'll come back to it later. Zeus and Poseidon also have clear Mycenaean counterparts, but not Hades. And that wouldn't be super weird if it weren't for the fact that the story of Persephone's descent into the underworld also seems to predate ancient Greece, and by extension, Hades. Now, just because we cannot find his name in Linear B does not strictly mean that Hades didn't exist in some form. But we do know that in the Mycenaean inscriptions we have, the role of King of the Underworld was filled by Poseidon, which would have made Hades' role redundant. And Poseidon is frequently referred to collectively with the Wanaso with the epithet Wanax, meaning the king, implying that Mycenaean Poseidon, Demeter, and Persephone were worshipped together in some form of trio capacity. So even if the kidnapper figure wasn't Hades back in the Mycenaean days, Demeter and Persephone were still mixed up with the king of the dead. Anyway, the Homeric hymn is the main written account we have of the abduction myth, but it was also ritually reenacted every year at the Eleusinian Mysteries, an initiation rite for the cult of Demeter and Persephone at Eleusis. We don't know what exactly they entailed, because the whole thing with mystery cults is that they kept their exact rites secret. But the theory is that it was originally derived from an agrarian Mycenaean religious ritual that predates the Greek Dark Age. The central theme of the mystery seemed to be the three-part journey of Persephone, her descent into the underworld, staying in the underworld while Demeter looked for her, and her ascending out of the underworld to reunite with Demeter. Hades had a part in the mystery as it was practiced in ancient Greece, but if it's as old as the theory believes, Hades might not have existed when it started in the Mycenaean Age. And he's not as central to the narrative structure as Persephone and Demeter. He's basically just a walking inciting incident to get Persephone into the underworld in the first place. He might not have been strictly necessary in the Mycenaean version, which is good because as near as we can interpolate, he can't have been in it, or at least—
Wait, did she just say interpolate?
Interpolate, yes. Hi,
Extrapolate and interpolate.
we have no person. Hi, Chaplain 07.
Chaplain 07. You are awesome.
Greetings, High Chaplain. Welcome in, Battle Brother.
Battle
We are
brother.
New Adventures. We appreciate you being here. You recently found the channel. Did you find us? It seems likely you found us through some 40K content, as we do a fair bit of that.
Yes.
God, stretch. That's good. Oh, fuck. Oh, okay.
Hey, I'd appreciate it if you didn't do that to him while we were on the stream.
I wish you could see the look I'm giving you, Mason.
Oh, I can feel it. It's fine. Listen, I just don't think it's appropriate for her to give you a noogie.
It's like we rapidly rubber band between deranged adults who can't stop making sex and potty jokes and juveniles who can't stop making bad puns and potty jokes.
Just so we're clear, though, when I said noogie, that was a stand holder for blowjob.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, that was just from my head.
That's the other. Oh man. He said, "Well, the emperor's work is never done, and we happen to come across the same plague, the Furtismord."
Have you been on some quests, Zack?
Mason, the quest against the furries never ends.
Yes.
The Emperor's work is never done.
That's right.
That's correct.
Ooh, I like that voice.
Yes. That was lovely. He says, "I try to good at adulting and being a kid at heart." Well, you will fit in just fine right here.
Yes, kindred spirits, my friend. I'm good at adulting also.
Yes.
I don't at all. Not even remotely.
I try good at adulting.
I'm good at adulting, I'm better at wording.
I'm much better at wording.
Much better at wording.
I do the words so gooder.
I do the words so gooder than you.
I do the words much gooder than you. I've published 2 books.
I'm stopping this now because we'll just do it all night. We were playing chicken and I moved out of the way.
He says, "You guys definitely have the voices down." He says, "I like gooder."
I like
Yes.
gooder too, you know? I'm much good at better wording.
Well, to do a shameless plug really quick, hi Chaplain. Mason, he actually does quite a bit of voice work over on his channel. Mason in the Dark here on YouTube. He does original stories, poetry, and he has this thing called TalkTube, which if you like to laugh, you will want to go check that
Yes.
out because it is objectively hilarious.
Oh, you guys.
Listen to me.
That's really
You
funny.
don't need to have any bashfulness or coyness about me saying TalkTube's funny. It's objectively great, and I've been using bits from that ever since I heard it. I promise.
You know, Chad, sometimes I think you deserve a raise. And then I remember all the times that you've failed me.
But boss, I've done so many good things for you and this organization.
That's true. And it is getting close to Christmas, which is the one time of year that's close to my heart. But my mother did leave on Christmas.
What? You have a mother? I thought that.
Never mind. Chad.
Oh my god.
One time of year I have to speak to my damn brother.
Sorry.
Bloody Valdus always gets all the glory. But the man, how many people have you killed this year? Mother, I'm making my moves slowly. Okay.
Genocide. Careful business, mother.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
Valdus manages to get people all at once, but I will strike, and many will fall.
I
I've
love
heard it all before.
I love how the man is actually his name and not just a title.
Yes, it says it on my birth certificate.
The man.
The man.
I love how we can't make it through one of these lives without adding to the mythos. That's what I love.
The doctor handed me to my mother, and he said, "It's a beautiful baby boy." And I slapped him with my glove, and I said, "No, it's the man."
No, I am the
The
man.
man. And one day I will be the leader of everything. Now show me some respect. I want milk.
Now, take me to my mother's titty. I require nourishment.
Mother, milk. Now. Mother, it is my nap time. It is approximately it is exactly 7 minutes past 5 in the afternoon. It is time for my nap.
It is time for my
Oh damn it. The man never to be taken seriously again. Such a good concept. This ultra Orwellian overlord figure that I've managed to create, and we've just dismantled his character like a live on air smear campaign.
No, we have built his character. See,
Yes.
that's what's great about this, Mason.
Oh my
He's
God.
on TalkTube, and in the segments where he pops up,
Oh.
he's this ominous, like fucking like Stalinist dictator type character, and then
Yes.
the super fans 10 years from now will come and watch all these lives and get all this background information about him.
Of him secretly being Valdus's brother and them competing for their mother's love
Right.
by being the worst villain.
Oh my God. And that definitely that puts a whole new spin on the bleeding ground, man.
Yes. And the site that we're referring to, it's youtube.com/Mason in the Dark. Because
Right.
he has his own
YouTube.com/Mason in the Dark.
Yes.
Yep. I would say he's down in the description, but I didn't get the description details entered this time for the live for reasons, but I will add them.
For reasons.
For reasons.
Yeah.
But I will get them in there after the stream. Oh, yes. It always goes off the rails with us.
There are no rails, man.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
We're just a cart wildly rolling downhill.
Can we be a snowball instead? Because I love like movies where there's like an avalanche caused by some people falling down the side of the mountain. That's always so fun.
Yes.
Yeah. I created a giant snowball once with my best friend Brad. We were teenagers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
you've told us that story. I think this would have been the third time.
Okay. Well, you know that my memory is terrible.
I know.
Imagine how many times Lee has had to hear that story. Over the 9 years. I'm going to be a horrible 80-year-old.
Dude, my dad was the same way though. There are stories my dad told me like, God, over a dozen times. And I'd be like, Dad, you've told me this before. He'd be like, no, I haven't. I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, at least I'm self-aware enough to be like, yeah, I probably did, yeah.
Ah, fuck.
I know.
I hope she's going to bring up the slandering of Medusa.
Maybe not in this video because I'm not sure if it's relevant to the subject matter. But she might offhandedly throw it in.
Yeah.
Later. And on top of that, the whole descent into and descent out of the underworld thing is a very common story structure in Indo-European mythology, as we've talked about with Ishtar, and that base story format does not require an abduction. And that's not the only instance in the mythology where Hades takes a back seat. Persephone and Demeter are central to a very ancient Arcadian mystery cult that doesn't seem to factor in Hades at all. In Arcadia, Demeter and Persephone are collectively referred to as Despoinai, meaning the mistresses, which you may note is quite similar to the Linear B Wanaso two
Ooh
queens
la
type.
la.
Arcadia, Persephone was also individually called Despoina,
Get your
the
mind out of the
mistress,
gutter.
and this gets a bit confusing because Despoina is sometimes described as distinctly separate from Persephone, and by sometimes I mean exclusively by Pausanias in the 200s AD, fully 800 years after the Homeric hymns, and apparently by nobody else. Other than him, basically everyone seems to recognize that Despoina is Persephone, but it's hard to say for certain, both because mystery cults keep their secrets, and because Despoina's whole deal was that her true name was forbidden. Only those initiated in her mysteries were allowed to know or speak it. So it might have been Persephone, but we're not allowed to know. The Arcadian mystery cult of the
History is a weird
theorized
fucking
to straight
thing.
up predate the
Right.
Greek-speaking immigrants to the region, so Demeter and Persephone might have originally been the Greekified version of a very ancient duo of spooky eldritch goddesses. Also, fun fact, in Arcadia, Despoina is seen as a child of Demeter and Poseidon rather than Zeus, and more confusingly, everyone involved in that particular story is shaped like a horse. Demeter turns into a horse to outrun Poseidon, Poseidon turns into a horse to chase her down, they have a beautiful horse baby who later grows into Despoina, aka Persephone. That is too many horses, put those back. But it also does parallel that weird connection we noted between
What
Poseidon and
is
the
it?
queens.
What is it with fucking Greek mythology and everyone animal shapeshifting all the time?
Well, because, animals were associated with power. And, am I correct?
I know, yeah. Who writes stories about shifters?
Easter from Ishtar. No. Astara of the morning is where we get Easter from. Because, the goddess of spring in other pagan cultures. So that's where they get Easter from. It's because first day of spring. So, yeah. It's actually.
I just love that Zack brought that point up as an author who writes shifter stories. What is it with all these people shifting?
Well, I mean,
okay, look, motherfucker.
it comes back in vogue every so many,
I mean, it's not a bad thing. He's picking up the ball
No.
that the Greek mythology dropped, and he's running with it. I was just laughing at him for
Look,
bringing
that's
it up.
not a Greek mythology thing. My writing is much more in line with the Celtic tradition of
That's
shape-shifting,
true.
okay, motherfucker?
I love winding you up about your writing.
I hate you so much.
Yeah, but you have months and months worth of evidence of me getting in live streams and being like, this is so great.
That's true.
The Greeks thought bestiality was hot, obviously. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, they did. But that's because in their religion, one of the primary things was having intercourse with something or someone was a way to take spiritual power from that thing and imbue it onto yourself, because they believed that sexuality is one of the things that raises your energetic and spiritual momentum to, vibrate over like a 700. So in order for you to be able to practice like ritual magic and things like that,
you needed to fuck
you needed to fuck it. So yeah.
Speaking of energy. Sorry,
Mhm.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
No, okay, go ahead.
I was just going to, speaking of energy and vibrations, my mother sent me a video the other day. And this video was like, it had people blindfolded and reading the thing that's on the paper in front of them because they'd concentrated real hard with their energy and they trained themselves to see through the blindfold. And I was like, if only that would work for me.
I mean, your pineal gland is intact. It could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Chaplain says, I like to have my facts right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, because it's, it's good to have your information. Well, it's good to know the truth of things or how they were originally. Wait, cults call the Inquisition. Yes, you needed to.
You need to fuck it.
You needed to fuck it.
Yes. You need to fuck it. Adventurous affirmations.
To understand something, you need to fuck it.
Adventurous affirmations. But I was being serious though, Mason. Like, I actually have on my computer right now a declassified CIA document about astral projection training. I've been meaning to read it over one of these days, but like, that shit's real, dude. And I can tell you, I've had meditations where my eyes were closed, but I could see my room. And I could see my hand moving in front of my face, even though my eyes were closed. So clearly, at that point, you're not actually seeing with your eyes. So
don't we have B-roll?
I think we do have B-roll of you proving that you could see with your eyes closed. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but you doing the this and talking about how you could see your hand.
Well, it was in the same B-roll, I think.
Yeah, because you were kind of high. Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Shut up, Mason. God.
It just pulled
In
up.
the Mike and Ian
You
version.
need to fuck it.
There's also more confusion about Persephone's name specifically, because in some parts of the mythology, usually when discussing the time before her abduction, she's referred to as Kore, meaning maiden. Now, unlike Persephone, Kore does occasionally get specifically referenced as a nature goddess. But the other weird thing about that is that Kore is a really vague title. Maiden is the classy translation. It's equally valid to say it just means girl. And that sounds a hell of a lot like a vague pseudonym you use when you can't say their name, like in the case of Despoina, and more notably, Hades. See, underworld gods were scary as hell, pun intended, and it was generally believed that calling them by name was a really good way to get their attention, which was a scary bad thing. So rather than saying Hades' name outright, he'd mostly get called by epithets or euphemisms, like the one with many names, or the one who receives many guests, which has the bonus benefit of sounding raw as hell. So we've got Persephone, which is, as near as we can tell, her actual name. But we've also got two extremely vague but very distinct titles, Kore and Despoina, that seem to have been pseudonyms originally arising from people specifically playing it safe and trying not to get her attention. Pre-Socratic philosopher Empedocles actually calls her Nestis, which supposedly means the fasting one. All these vague nicknames and pseudonyms lend some pretty significant credence to the idea that Persephone's oldest version, whatever it was really, really scary. Like, don't speak her name, you might get her attention scary. And the fact that Persephone has potentially over 1,000 years of secret mystery history, while the first concrete confirmation we have of Hades' existence is the Iliad, is actually kind of reflected in how they're characterized in the actual mythos, because Hades doesn't actually do much. He rules the underworld and shows up whenever someone visits, but he doesn't, go out and do stuff. He's pretty passive most of the time. Even in his own...
he's kind of busy ruling the underworld.
Right. I mean, do you have any idea what it's like having to wrangle dead folks?
Listen, do you understand how much red tape there is down here?
Right. James Woods as Hades will forever be the best. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Even though the Disney movie butchers the mythos, I do like that incarnation of Hades, just as a Disney villain.
Yes.
Because he's just believable, really.
Yeah.
I can just actually believe that this guy hates his brother and just wants to fuck with his brother on principle.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite devil is the South Park devil.
Oh my god, it would be.
His song in the movie is just the best.
The shit I put up with. Excuse me.
Core myth, he takes a backseat to the core mother-daughter drama. Persephone and Demeter have so much going on, we literally can't tell how many other goddesses and chthonic rituals might be caught up in their personal mythology, but Hades is exactly what it says on the box. He feels simpler. Now, this might be because the underworld kind of creeped the ancient Greeks out, so they avoided talking, thinking, or writing about it in case they attracted its attention. But while that would explain Hades' broadly inoffensive and generally lawful characterization, it wouldn't really explain why Persephone, also a dread underworld deity, is disproportionately so much more complicated than him. Now, it's impossible to be sure about almost anything about this, but my guess, and this is just me theorizing, is that Persephone as dread queen of the underworld is probably her oldest characterization, and all her other names and versions came from the deliberate vagueness people used when talking about her because of how scary she was. The flowery
because of how dreadful she was.
Stuff seems to have been a later retcon to give her some pre-underworld lore that wasn't reflected in how she was actually worshipped. And if I can do a little wilder speculation, I think
this character needs some more grey in it. She's very black and white.
Like, hey guys, this deity that we invented is super scary. Why don't we make her not as scary so we don't have to fear her absolutely shit-wrecking us anytime we talk about it?
Yeah.
Great idea.
I think it's got more to do with the fact that it's just a poor characterization. We need a backstory and a reason for why she's evil.
He says, "Geez, mister, you're really strong." Later on, he's like, "Geez, mister, really?"
as an offshoot of Mycenaean Poseidon. Now, as we've discussed, Mycenaean Poseidon was king of the underworld, and he had an unclear but definitely extant connection to Demeter and Persephone. In fact, in some Minoan and Mycenaean cults, there was a very widespread duality between the paired figures of a god of the underworld and a goddess of nature. And in the Mycenaean version, that god of the underworld role was filled by Poseidon, and the goddess of nature seems to have been Demeter, although there is some debate over that. The parallels keep popping up, but after the Greek Dark Age, Poseidon was definitely not the king of the underworld anymore, and that connection to the Despoinai was mostly lost, and Hades got it instead. So this might be another Hermes situation, where Hermes started off as a specialized epithet for Pan before getting carved off into his own god. If Poseidon's king of the underworld duties got peeled off during the Dark Age and formed a new god filling an ancient role, that'd account for the discrepancy and why Hades is curiously absent from the pre-Dark Age sources, and barely factors into the Homeric stories either. It'd also potentially indicate that in the pre-Dark Age roots of the abduction story, Poseidon filled some variation of the role that later belonged to Hades. This is 100% my own crack theory, though. I cannot find anyone else making this connection, and there is no ironclad textual evidence to support this. We are fully in the thumbtacks and string zone here. But if there's one thing that we can definitely take away from this, it's that this is a uniquely snarled part of the mythos.
What?
Well, I was just saying, but, you know, it would make sense. It would make sense.
There's a ton of moving parts, epithets, and pseudonyms making everything confusing. This is not helped by the fact that there's also a lot of widely accepted misinformation about the story in general and Persephone specifically. On one side, there's the misinterpretation that Persephone's abduction was a horrifyingly violent assault, which stems from the fact that the ancient word for kidnap has taken on much more unpleasant connotations over the centuries, which was not its original application in the story. And on the other end of the misconception spectrum, there's the fairly modern idea that in the original version of the myth, Persephone willingly walked into the underworld, and the kidnapping thing was a later retcon to strip away Persephone's agency and girl power. I trace this telling all the way back to the archaic era of 1978, when author Charlene Spretnak wrote Lost Goddesses of Early Greece, a collection of pre-Hellenic myths, which was intended to make the mythology more palatable for her young daughter since she didn't want to expose her to all the kidnapping and sexual assault. This book attempted to interpolate what a theoretical pre-patriarchal no-kidnapping version of the myth might have looked like, but it has no sources because there are no pre-Hellenic pre-kidnapping sources for this story. We just don't have them. They don't exist. So this is fanfic. And that's fine. People have been writing Greek mythology fanfic since before there was Greek mythology, but it is definitely not the original version because we straight up do not know the original version. At this point, we'll probably never know the original version. This book was then later adapted by Marjorie Graham, without crediting Spretnak by the way, into a beautifully illustrated retelling that advertised itself as the much older pre-patriarchal version of the myth, and what is thought to be the goddess-worshipping Bronze Age version of the tale, which is the nice way of saying that this is completely unsourced and I hate it. See, this is how misinformation spreads, people. This is cytogenesis in action. Cite your sources or admit you don't have any. But myth conceptions aside, at its core, the story of Hades and Persephone is surprisingly compelling. They are 100% the most functional canon relationship in Greek mythology. Among other things, Persephone is in the extremely rare position of sharing equal power and authority with her husband. They also never cheat on each other, and whenever someone tries to intrude on the relationship by kidnapping or seducing one of them, the other one does something really nasty to the intruder. This is all just canon. We don't even need to sweep any indiscretions under the rug. It's just there. And that's why this story is so incredibly popular with modern writers. There are at this point dozens of reimaginings of their relationship, and while some of them lean into the Hades as Satan angle for some easy villainy, most of them focus on the strange and contradictory beauty of the ultimate pastel goth love story. Their relationship started with an arranged marriage, kidnapping, and a near apocalypse, and seamlessly transitioned into the most functional love story in the entire mythos. That is a fascinating scenario for writers to explore, from Lore Olympus reframing the controversial parts of their love story as a matter
That's
of
pretty
unreliable
cool, I'm not
narrative,
gonna lie.
Super Giant Games as Hades, painting Hades and Persephone as deceiving the other gods with the story of the original myth, to Hades Town playing up how strained and tragic their love has become over the years. There's tons of complexities to explore. This story has the worst rep out of any Greek myth because of the whole Hades is bad guy bias we start with, but when we pull back the curtain of societal preconceptions and look at the real story as the ancient Greeks told it, we find a very strange and surprisingly loving relationship between two very different people. It's beautiful, and it's basically the only relationship in Greek mythology that is actively less horrifying when you read the original version. But
Right.
all justifications and recontextualization aside, don't kidnap your loved ones. Not even if their dad tells you to. We know better now. Oh,
Right.
well,
And also,
You know
So-
better now.
she did not spoil it.
So delightful.
Well, actually, I wouldn't have spoiled it by telling the original. So, okay, how it actually went. Zeus, okay, I like the fact that she laid the groundwork here with Persephone's other name, Kore, meaning maiden or girl, and the fact that she also laid the groundwork with her being a forest spirit. So, Persephone, being the daughter of Demeter, was a nymph. Okay, she was a forest nymph, and Zeus actually he went out there and he saw her and he tried to rape her, and she turned herself into a tree.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this part of the myth.
Okay.
Tree powers.
And-
activate.
Yeah, tree powers activate. So yeah, she turned into a tree. There's even I believe it's Bernini actually made a sculpture of it. And it's a really, really famous sculpture.
Getting down to the roots of the story now.
Yeah.
Oh, ha ha ha! You're so clever.
So
From the mind of Mason, everyone.
yes.
It's worth doing that just for the reactions I get out of you, to be honest. It's golden.
It was like, it makes me so happy.
It does. I don't feel like I'm ever gonna have a son, so it's just the closest thing I've got to being able to be like use dad humor.
He's like, I have to niggle you with these. It's so much fun.
You're my surrogate son that's the same age as me.
Aren't I actually older than you?
By a few months, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Chaplin says, I mean, he can just start laying some wood at that point. Haha, no pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended at all, you smug bastard.
See this guy. This guy gets it.
Oh my gosh. All right, so yeah, anyway, so Zeus went out there to the forest and he saw Persephone and he was like, oh, okay, you're a lovely forest nymph, even though, you know, he totally forgot that she was sort of kind of his daughter. And
I sort of kind of forgot that.
right, yeah. And so he was going to rape her, and in order to defend herself, she turned into a tree. Well, she stayed out there as a tree for, you know, really, like a couple of days, and waiting for him to leave and all that stuff. And one day a year, Yeah, just skip the daughter part. Right? Anyway, so one day a year during the seasonal new year or whatever, basically when the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead thinned to a point where, the dead could walk amongst the living and all of that stuff. Halloween now, basically, was the one day of the year that Hades could come up from the underworld and walk the living earth. So that happened to be this day that she transformed from being a tree back to, being in the form of a girl. And
It's unfortunate timing.
Right. Well, she did that at the same time that Hades, broke up from the ground and came onto the living earth, and he saw this tree transform into the form of this girl. And when his eyes clasped onto her, basically she was the most beautiful thing that he'd ever seen. But he saw that she was really, really sad, and he was like, hey, like, what's going on?
Hey, girl, what's going on, babe?
And she was like, oh, great, I'm going to have to turn into a tree again or whatever. He was like, no, like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to talk to you. Like, what's going on? So she explained
to
him. Right. So, she explained the whole thing, and he was like, okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Babe, I made you a mixtape.
Yeah.
It's called Fuck Zeus, and I don't like that guy at all.
Right. Yeah. He was like, yeah, that sounds pretty good, of course. And he was like, oh, okay, well, sun's coming up, so I'm about to have to go back.
I gotta hit it.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta go back to the underworld, and
I think my Uber's on the way.
Yeah, he was like, so if you want to come down there and hang out for a little while, you won't have to put up with that shit anymore. And she was like, oh, okay, cool.
Not my place, babe. It's cool. There's no rules at all.
Right.
There's a bunch of dead guys, but
yeah.
I mean, if you can get past that, it's pretty chill.
Yeah, it's pretty chill.
I got this 3-headed dog named Spot. You'll love him.
Yeah.
His breath stinks, but he's really cute.
He's really cute. So yeah,
okay, I got a great place. It's it's right on the River Styx. It's great. It's great, babe. You'll love it.
I was like, he says, I got you extra RAM for your computer. I even left a little note that said thanks for the memories. What?
Thank you so much for doing that. You're my new favorite. Do you realize how good it is when someone else can make him do the audible face? I can't see the look that he's doing, but I can hear it. And
You
it's
can
amazing.
hear it. So yeah. So anyway, basically, what happened was he was like, "Hey, I gotta go back." So but if you want to come hang out, I think you're really cute, and I like talking to you. And you weren't super scared of me when I showed up, so that's also a plus.
she didn't run away.
I'm badass.
And I've always liked that in a woman.
Right.
When a woman doesn't run and scream, I know she's great.
Right. So they went down there, and she didn't tell anybody because basically she was like, okay, fuck everyone here.
Chad and Brad aren't gonna believe this.
Right. He's like, just fuck everybody up here above ground. Just not gonna deal with any more of these people because they're all like, Zeus is so great. Yeah, whatever. So
Zeus is so great. He puts his dick in everything.
In everything. Yep.
No, but Hades isn't. Come on, keep up with the characterization. Hades isn't like that. That's why she likes him.
No, I was saying I was being like a surface dweller.
Oh, okay. So Chad. Chad, I've told you she doesn't like Zeus. Stop saying he's so great. I don't believe you.
Alright,
Yo,
you need
you need to fucking Zeus.
You need to fuck it, Zeus. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, anyway, basically, so they go down there and she didn't tell anybody that she was gonna go because basically it was just like a split second thing. So they go down there and Demeter is running around, looking around everywhere, like, oh no, where's my daughter? Has anybody seen her?
My
And-
daughter! Has anybody seen my daughter?
No. And then Zeus hears about what happened and he was like, oh, she probably just perma-turned herself into a tree. And
We
I'm gonna
kind
have
of
to
sort of had an
explain
argument. And,
because my fault. So he came up with the whole thing of, well, actually, it wasn't me. I didn't do nothing.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, everybody thought, he thought basically that maybe she turned herself into a tree. But, when her brother went down to the underworld and ended up discovering just kind of offhand that basically she was down there. And, hey, Jonathan!
Jonathan, you are awesome.
What's up?
How's it going, man? Welcome in.
Welcome to the adventure, Jonathan.
Yeah, welcome to the adventure.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Is that you?
Is that you?
Who?
Oh.
Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
You don't know who that is,
No.
Mason? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll bring him up after this next thing I want to show you. So,
Yeah.
were you done, Caitlin?
I was gonna wrap up real quick.
Okay.
So anyway, basically what happened was, winter was happening because Demeter was really, really upset about the fact that they could not find her daughter, and they've been searching for her everywhere. And her brother ended up going down to the underworld to talk to Hades about something to do with all of that going on, and ended up discovering that she was down there. And so, he, went back up and was like, hey, I found Persephone. She's actually, in the underworld or whatever. And then Zeus started propagating the theory that, no, she was kidnapped. Nah, not, I tried to rape her and she decided that she was going to leave because I did that. So, Demeter basically sent a message to her daughter saying that, she really wanted to see her and whatever. So she came back, and of course, Hades gave her the pomegranate seeds or whatever as a way to be like, hey, if you want to come back down here, totally can. That's cool. So that's basically how that ended, was she decided that she was going to stay married to him.
Which is the basis of...
Like, huh?
Which is the basis of... I married the Lord of the Underworld because my mummy doesn't love me. The
Right,
new album by Crystalline Tears.
Yeah.
Crystalline Tears, is that the girl version of Rat Guts?
It's the late 2000s emo version of them.
Yeah. But basically, yeah, so that's the whole actual story of Hades and Persephone, was that, she would
Man, yo, we're
She-
like Hades and Persephone.
want to do. Yep. And the whole kidnapping thing was a lie that was propagated by Zeus. Because he was like, no, I wasn't trying to be a rapist, even though that's totally my reputation.
Even though literally just raping things is just kind of what I do.
Right, yeah.
You notice my total reputation?
Oh my god. Someday someone who hates me is going to clip these things out of context and just make a compilation of me saying all the worst things.
Gosh.
Oh, I'm constantly gathering clips for that.
Listen, I rape everyone. Everyone I ever meet, I rape them. I do horrible things to them, and I don't care. My name is Zeus, not Zack Bieber. Not at all.
I have it all saved in an album that I call Mutually Assured Destruction.
Oh, man. All right, Mason. I was wondering. I wanted to play this and see if you were aware of it. If you're not, I think you're gonna like it.
Ooh.
This is from your part. This is a song from your neck of the woods.
Easter morn to a city fair, oh, I
love this song.
The armed lines of marching men and squadrons passed me by.
They're sort of over the opening episode of The Garden of Lies.
I can see
it. Dead sound at loud too, but the angelus bells o'er the leafy swell rang out in the foggy dew.
You know who this dude doesn't sound like at all, but I can also, in my head, I can transmit the other person's voice over and hear how they do it.
I'm sorry. Start what you were saying over again, Mason.
This guy doesn't sound like him at all, but I can transmit the other person's voice over and hear it in my head how they would sing this, and it's Serge Tankian. Just imagine Serge Tankian doing all that stuff that he's doing. I can hear it. In
yeah, because the vibrato that this guy does.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is cool though. It's epic as fuck.
Oh, like how you at the screen. My coworker 2 years later still wonder what's on the buds. They wouldn't understand.
Gosh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Hi, Chaplin. Exactly.
Yeah.
Dublin town hung they out a flag of war. 'Twas better to die 'neath that Irish sky than not solve our subtle bar.
I find it so funny that you said that this was from my neck of the woods.
Strong men came hurrying through, while Britannia's horns with their long-range guns sailed through in the foggy dew. Bravest fell on the requiem bell rang mournfully and clear. For those who died that Easter tide in the springing of the year, while the world did and those fearless men but few who bore the fight that freedom's light might shine through the foggy dew.
Not gonna lie though, as much as I love this bit, I can just in my head I can just hear like the metal reimagining of it, like the symphonic metal reimagining of it, and I'm just like, please give me that version, somebody.
Oh God,
Somebody,
yeah,
please.
yeah,
Oh
like an
my
epic
God.
metal version of this. Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely, that would be fantastic.
That needs to Yeah.
I hear you, Chaplain. Big ol' same.
And back through the glen I rode again, and my heart with grief was sore. For I parted then with valiant men, whom I never shall see no more. But to and fro in my dreams I go, and I kneel and pray for you. For slavery fled, oh glorious dead, when you fell in the foggy dew.
I'm sorry, but that over like the last few minutes of a Garden of Lies episode that ends with like a cliffhanger, with like that last note, and there's just like the lingering shot of like the oh shit sort of moment. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I might have to. Oh God, yeah. When I have Garden of Lies made into visual media, I might have to contact this dude. Like, hey, can I license your song?
Right.
That would work so well. Just like I can just imagine like the little montage of things going on. It's all building up, and you're like, "What is going on?" And then there's like the last lingering note, and it's just like the shot of like the thing that puts it all together, and you're like, "Oh shit!"
And you know what? And Kate, at the end of book 2, the end of book 2, it would work even better.
Yes.
Well, I figured there'd be a moment that was more suited.
Yeah.
That that was more suited to that than something from the first book, but because it feels
Yeah.
like it would be a big reveal, like if it was a TV show or whatever, the thing that would go along with that would be a big reveal, like oh shit, this changes everything.
Yep.
Much more suited to a Garden of Lies adaptation than a Bleeding Ground one. I can't picture that over Bleeding Ground.
Yeah, it's too. This is too. There's too much beauty in this for Bleeding Ground. You know what I mean? Like Bleeding Ground is so much more grim and dark, whereas Garden of Lies. Not to stroke my own dick too hard, but I like strike that Tolkien balance between grim and dark and upbeat and cheerful.
How did we do that? How did you end up being the one that wrote like the far more cheery light thing? And I'm over here with like, yeah, let's just kill people off, and we can just go into the cove and just slaughter everyone. Ooh, arrow to the eye, yeah, that'll be a good one. Or we could just decapitate this person. Yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I'll write something eventually that's as dark as bleeding ground.
I get teased by Lee all the time because she's like, none of your stories can end well, can they? And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'll write something one day that has a happy ending. You'll see. And she's like, yeah, I'm sure you will.
Oh, fine. Yeah. Man. That's almost like with Chaplin says, then you will love 40K.
Oh yeah, we've begun.
It's grimdark, but the community humor is just peak, man. Yes, the community humor is fucking hilarious.
I find fandoms really hard to keep up with.
We've started the process of exposing Mason to 40K.
Yes.
It's been very, very slow going, but we have started it.
I really don't know why you don't think that I'm interested in that. I like role-playing games and stuff, and I like fantasy. I don't know why you think that I wouldn't. I'm more interested in 40K than I am SCP, and you've shown me plenty of them.
Okay, fine. You know what? All right.
Yeah, because Major Kill is a good.
We're gonna watch
G'day.
the latest.
We're gonna
video.
watch one right fucking now. Fuck you,
Exactly.
man.
As soon as I take this piss.
He's gonna take a pee.
I'm gonna go find the most obscure 40K video I can find and make you watch it right now.
Yeah, he says good before he's exposed to thirsting gods. Right. Yeah. But yeah, Mason, I know exactly what you mean, though, about you can't seem to end anything happy. Because, like, with the ending of World Next Door, I had it planned at first that it was going to be kind of like a, I don't know, like a happy ending. Just going to tie a nice little bow on the end of it. And it was going to be like, oh yeah, so this did end up okay, you know, but then for some reason I was like, you know, it just would seem so much better if it wasn't.
Yeah, if it wasn't all sunshine and roses.
Right.
It was funny. I think the reason Lee was laughing at me for it was because she was like, that story she could have just gone and avenged her brother and it could have all been good, but you had to end it the way you ended it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was like, yes, because that's more poetic and it's a better story. And she's like, yeah, but it's not happy. And I was like, oh, fair point.
May I met the Astartes video? Which when you say the Astartes video, are you talking about the classic Astartes animation that everyone talks about? Because we can definitely watch that after. The only problem with that is that that it's highly visual and Mason's blind. That's the only problem with that. All right, we'll start the video while I'm waiting on that answer.
Guys and gal, there is more to Warhammer 40k than just war, although you'd easily be forgiven for thinking that. There is love, joy, comedy, sex, and yes, copious amounts of eating. I mean, well, there has to be, right? There's a shitload of mouths to feed. But that does beg the question, what does each race eat in the grim darkness of 40k? Even humanity, who we should be pretty well acquainted with diet-wise, is eating stuff that we wouldn't be able to fathom in our wildest dreams. Are the Elder all vegan? Are the Orcs basically just eating their own excrement? Is there anything the Tyranids won't eat? Do the Necrons even need to eat? Who knew this topic would be so layered and interesting? Before we get started, I owe you guys and gals an apology. A few weeks ago, I launched my 400k Mage Kill merch, and a lot of you were wondering why I wasn't wearing the merch while promoting it. I mean, yeah, that's just shit marketing. Well, I was told it was due to arrive later that week, and I honestly got so excited with hitting 400k that I just jumped the gun, promoting it before I actually had the samples, and then I was hoping to just wear the samples in the next plug a few days later. However, the supply shit the bed, and not only did my own sample merch only just arrive, but they have only also just started sending out the orders now. My bad, guys. I will make sure this never happens again. On a positive note, that does mean the merch is here and ready to go. First up, we have the classic black tee for warmer weather, or with the hoodie for when your nips get pointy in the cold. Backing that up, we have the burgundy. Honestly, burgundy clothes slap hard. It's something about that musky red that just gets the juices flowing. Each hoodie is unique, and then they have what hoodie number they are on the sleeve. With all the hoodies and t-shirts coming with a custom message.
Let the juices flow.
Red if you buy that piece of merch. Trust me, guys and gals, you don't want
Do
to
you
die.
let the juices flow, Chaplin?
What was that?
I said, do you let the juices flow, Chaplin? Are you a man of musky red?
Well, I guess that would depend entirely on which legion he belongs to.
That's true.
I have a weakness for a man in red.
Is that why you write Valdis so much? You're like, oh yeah, blood all over him. Oh.
No, I meant red clothes because I'm sane.
Well, you know, the clothes will be red after all the killing.
Yes, red with blood, not red fabric.
Oh, I mean, the fabric will be red once it's covered.
Listen, dude, it's red fabric that I like, not stained fabric, okay? Why you gotta make it weird? I'm just trying to talk about how hot I find men in red, and you're turning it weird.
Dude, all red fabric is stained red. There is no red. There is no material that's naturally red.
I hate you so much. You're a big, veiny, throbbing head of a penis.
That's right. That's right.
You're so veiny and throbbing that you're basically a hentai.
Yep, that's correct. That's correct. That's why I can lift the amount of weight I can.
Yep.
That's right.
I can lift the heavy things. Oh my gosh. Maru says, ever hear a fan with too much times audio drama Star Wars versus Warhammer 40k? It's amazing.
Ever hear? You know, I've heard of it. I have not listened to it.
Might have to check that out. He says, now easy, brother. One cannot embrace too much excess. Now, what legion would that make him from?
If I embraced too much excess, that would be the Emperor's Children, the legion that went to Slanesh.
No, I mean him saying not to embrace too much excess.
Oh, well, I mean, that would basically be all of them, but if like you took it to the super extreme, it would be the Grey Knights.
But is he not saying that it is impossible to embrace too much excess?
No, he's saying you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One cannot. It leads to a road of ever wanting more sensations. That is a recommendation. My favorite traitor legion.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of mine too, because look, if I was gonna pick a chaos god, of course I'd pick the god of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Right, yeah.
Like, of course.
I'll choose the god of peace, love, and rainbows. Thank you.
There is no god of peace, love, and rainbows in Warhammer 40k.
Well, there should be. And he should hand out muffins to people who are nice to him.
I guess the closest thing to that in Warhammer 40k would be the Greater Good, which is a warp god that exists because the humans in the Tau Empire are fucking stupid, and they think that the concept of the Greater Good, which is like the doctrine the Tau live by, that the humans in that empire thought that was actually a god. And so the collective consciousness of the humanity created the Greater Good as a warp god.
Yeah.
But does he hand out muffins?
I mean, I don't know.
Then I'm not interested. One more religion off the list.
Man, I almost want to create something like that.
What, a magical god of rainbows and smiles that walks around handing out muffins?
Yes, that has because for some reason when he mentioned that and you were talking about that, I got this idea for an aesthetic in my head of this god-like figure, and there was all kinds of sweets and candies and all this other stuff.
You get a muffin.
Right, exactly. But I feel like there's some kind of a sinister undertone.
Of course there is.
He pulls them out of his pants, and you don't know where exactly they're coming from.
There's no way he can fit that much candy in those pants. They must be magic pants.
Color left. So
Yes.
They always smell funny though, for whatever reason.
They always what?
They always smell funny for some reason.
Yep.
This one time there was a little hair, but you know.
Hey, free muffin's a free muffin.
Exactly, yeah. It was it was just in like the frosting. I just had to like.
You just had to like what?
Just wipe it away, you know.
Wouldn't you pluck it, not wipe it?
No.
What?
He's like, I just wiped all the frosting off the top. You know, fuck it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Chaplain says, he hands out Band-Aids after the Imperium performs Exterminatus.
Listen, man, you're going to need a little bit more than a fucking Band-Aid after Exterminatus, bro.
limited drop. Cheers to 400k subs. Let's see how much further we can go.
It's a very
Today,
on the nose name.
what food does
Huh?
Exterminatus is a very on the nose name. It's like,
Yeah.
geez, dude, is your job just who you are?
Well, there's a lot of faux Latin in Warhammer 40k.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exterminatus is not a person. It's a procedure. It's a procedure. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just figured it was some sort of villain character. I am Exterminatus.
No, Exterminatus is something the Empire does to its own planets when they're beyond saving. Like if they're taken with a plague that there's just no getting under control, or if the enemy gains control of your planet, or if the asshole who has access to the button is feeling like pushing it that day.
Yeah.
each faction generally eat? I'm not going to be analysing their entire diet, more so just well-known favourites that each race will aim to nom on. Let's get into it. Humanity might mostly look and sound the same 40,000 years in the future, but their favourite foods do not.
Because that's how evolution works.
Pretty much all animals on Earth, including, yes, chicken and beef. Fortunately, the galaxy is a big place, and there are alternatives to everything. Instead of eating cattle, mankind now enjoys eating these large demonic reptilian monsters called grox. Now, despite looking like the worst possible livestock in the entire galaxy, the opposite is true. They can live in any climate, can digest almost any food, and their meat is extremely delicious and nutritious, as well as the fact that you can eat any part of a grox. Unfortunately, they aren't herd animals, so in order to keep them together in large packs without causing mass destruction, most of the adult groxes are lobotomized, whilst the breeding groxes are subdued with complicated electric headwear that zaps their brain and keeps them chill. It's pretty fucked up, but honestly not that different to what we do in real life. Since grox burgers are a thing, these beasts are the most sought after food in the Imperium. Although none of our animals survived into the 42nd millennium to grace our dinner plates, a lot of the veggies did. Most common is wheat, after all how do you make a grox burger without the buns, and corn, due to how hardy corn is. Some variant of coffee is also around, called recaf, but that's more just a general term for all teas and coffees that contain caffeine. For alcohol, there is a lot of choice, but the most popular is Amasec, especially if you're an Inquisitor. It's a lot like space brandy. Now this does all sound quite nice and dandy. I'd eat a fucking grox burger, and you know I would test my liver's capacity on some Amasec. But for most people, these aren't even available to them, instead having to rely on nutrient paste or the infamous corpse starch. Yes, it kind of is what it sounds like. Processed human flesh that is recycled and fed back to the populations.
Yeah.
Now corpse starch
Soylent
isn't just
Green,
dead human
basically.
bodies. It's pretty much any edible biomatter that
Sorry, what?
I said it's Soylent Green, basically.
Right.
Sounds
What were you
yummy.
saying, Vince?
I said yummy.
Right.
Yep.
is around that gets processed together, kind of like McDonald's chicken nuggets. However, as dead human bodies are always in supply, that often makes up the main ingredient. Now this does sound pretty fucked up and unnecessarily grimdark, but it actually makes a lot of sense. After all, in hive cities, where thousands of people die every day, there is no room for graves, and it seems like a genuine waste of energy and biomass to just mass cremate everyone. You also can't leave the corpses lying around, otherwise you'd get the mother of all plagues on the daily. So recycling is honestly the most logical choice. Corpse starch would also be quite high in protein and fat. You know things are bad when cannibalism becomes the sensible choice. For space
Right.
marines, their
Right.
digestive system is way less of a bitch than ours, so they can eat almost anything and get fuel out of it. Most chapters stick with nutrient paste or bars for ease of consumption and to maintain peak condition, but when they're on a mission, they'll eat whatever is available. Combat rations, local wildlife, the corpses of their enemies, these fuckers can even eat rocks and shit. Mechanicus adepts often remove and replace their mouths, digestive system, and pretty much everything else, so they don't need to waste time or effort on something so trivial as eating, preferring to just plug themselves into a life support system or have one built in until the tiny parts of humanity that remain within them are nourished. A custodian is perfect in every way. Their body consumes energy extremely efficiently, and they can go days or even weeks of hard labor and fighting without food or sleep. In saying that though, they still need to eat at some point, and since they mostly live in the Imperial Palace, you can bet your
Literally.
ass they eat like kings. But what about the other races and factions?
It's like humans bitch about sawdust being used as filler in certain foods. The Astartes are like, that's the good part.
Right.
The sawdust adds texture.
it's good roughage.
Keeps my turds nice and firm, just as the Emperor intended.
It bulks out my porridge.
Oh my gosh. It's like, but do you have any idea the amount of, well, I mean, I guess their intestines are more structurally sound than regular humans' intestines, but do you have any idea the amount of diverticulitis people would end up with, though, from just eating sawdust?
Buy the new Dust Puffs. It's packing
So
peanuts
that's just
covered
the
in
rate
sawdust.
Ah, man.
Oh.
Yeah, because you would, for anybody who doesn't know what that is, diverticulitis is basically where you end up with infections because little holes are poked in your intestines.
Isn't that sepsis?
No, it can cause sepsis, but the first stage is diverticulitis. Yeah.
Well, banging out an easy one, the Necrons do not eat and cannot eat. One of the biggest reasons why they regret the biotransference is because they can no longer taste. Even the flayers who try stuff meat in their mouths will find themselves unsatisfied, as it will just get stuck between their teeth or flop out. The Eldar, on the other hand, are an interesting one. The craft welders are mostly vegetarian and enjoy a massive selection of incredible food. In saying that though, they aren't explicitly stated to be anti-meat, so I assume they would get some here and there. They are also sluts for good wine. The Dark Elder are much more carnivorous, with the lowest scum parts of their society being cannibals, whilst the upper end of the society are also cannibals, but like with herbs and spices. Rich Dark Elder will eat exotic creatures from across the galaxy, and drink wine that is incompatible with humans. If a human was to drink proper Dark Elder wine, they would have the shits for around 2 weeks. The Exodites are more primitive. They herd and harvest their livestock of dinosaurs, likely getting into their eggs or even nomming down on their own beasts. But considering GW treat the Exodites like they aren't even canon anymore, it's hard to know for sure. What about the Orcs? How do these colossal green mushroom boys maintain their obscene muscle mass? Well, it may come as no surprise that the Orcs are very efficient and self-reliant for their food. They enjoy roasted squig, which their spores help produce, as well as fungus beer, which their spores help produce. They aren't very picky though. They'll eat nearly
That
anything.
sounds gross.
Family.
It is
or
gross.
rots.
Yeah.
If you think
There's nothing that isn't gross about the Orcs at like every level.
I know,
So
but fungus beer, that makes me want to heave just saying it.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing about the Orcs. They are mushrooms. So in
Yeah.
Warhammer 40k, the Orcs grow from mushroom spores. They grow in they have literal actual mushrooms above ground, and in a below ground pod, the actual physical orc is gestating, and then they pop out of the ground like fucking orcs from Tolkien's lore. And they photosynthesize. They can photosynthesize for all of their energy, but they will straight up eat anything that's even remotely food.
Just so you know, I'm not 100% sure that that's how orcs are made in actual canon. Like the whole coming
Well,
up from the ground thing? That's just a Peter
Well-
Jackson creation, isn't it? Because
well,
they're corrupted
actually-
elves.
actually, okay. So what is canon is orcs are corrupted elves in Tolkien. However, goblins gestate and pop up out of folds of the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
aware of that. I thought goblin and orc was used interchangeably.
No,
As
no.
far as I was aware.
Goblins and orcs are two completely different things. Because goblins are they're a little bit smaller. Also, they're not quite as smart, even though they do have the ability to, like have some speech and do stuff like that. Like, like in The Hobbit, for instance, how the game of golf was invented when, an infestation of goblins popped up near the Shire, and their leader's name was Golf, and a famous brandy buck, because he was like over 4 feet tall and big enough to actually ride a horse, went into battle against these goblins and saved the Shire, and ended up whacking off the goblin's head, and it flew like so many yards and ended up landing in a hole. And they thought it was such great fun that in celebration of the battle, they invented the game of golf. Yeah. So yeah. But that's
Oi, Caitlin, he says you got to be proper to lead the whack.
The whack.
The whack.
Yeah. The biggest orc is the boss.
The
Yes.
biggest orc is
Yeah.
the boss.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as Tolkien canon goes, goblins pop up out of the ground, and orcs are fallen elves, and then of course you have the Uruk-hai, which were creations of a mixture between orcs and goblin men, which how Saruman ended up with a mixture of goblin men was not the most savory necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space Marines weren't picky eaters, then holy shit, orcs take the cake. The Tau diet is as funny as it is expected. I shit you not, these guys are not only vegan, but also like to eat instant noodles. The Imperium isn't sure if the Tau's veganism is biological or cultural. However, they do seem to have evolved from bovine who walk the plains of their tundra-like world. So honestly, I think they are vegan because they don't have a choice. Eating flesh would probably make them sick. And it does suit their memo, as well as reinforce how horrified with the galaxy and how out of place they are, slurping down their ramen while the Space Marines and orcs literally fucking eat each other. I guess I should start including the Leagues of Votan in these lists, but I haven't read up on anything about their diet yet, so I assume it's as boring and efficient as food can be. Although Chaos is very much its own thing, it's still fundamentally made up of humans and demons. Demons don't need to eat, only doing so to unnerve or kill people, whilst Chaos followers would eat whatever they could, each other or, just like a shitload of warped spaghetti. The Tyranids eat pretty much everything, so instead of listing every item in the galaxy, let's look at what they don't or can't eat. An obvious one is Necrons. Tyranids fucking hate Necrons. Their living metal bodies can't really be eaten, their tomb worlds are almost entirely devoid of biomass, their weapons atomize biomass, and they don't suffer morale issues. Tyranid bullets also do jack shit against them, so on the rare occasion when the Tyranids overrun the Necrons and eat them, they're really getting nothing out of it, and I doubt they would even try to digest them. Going further though, something the Tyranids definitely cannot eat is the forces of Nurgle, or anything Nurgle related. Tyranids have wildly powerful
Tyranids
digestive and
cannot
immune
eat
systems, but that means sweet
Nurglites?
fuck all against the god of disease.
What?
Tyranids cannot eat Nurglites.
Mhm.
That is interesting.
During a battle between the Tyranids and the forces of Nurgle over the control of a world, Nurgle did what he does and made the world super gross and AIDSy. The Tyranids slurped that shit up anyways, which resulted in one of their ships rapidly decaying and dying. causing the Nids to learn a valuable lesson and nope the fuck out of there. In a similar vein, scientists of the Farsight enclaves were able to develop a supervirus that they then injected into themselves as the Nids ate them. This supervirus burned through an entire Tyranid hive fleet and killed all of them. It's just a shame that in the madness of it all, the recipe for the virus was seemingly lost. The Tyranids also can't eat Custodes, or at least have never been able to, as the Custodes fuck them up. For proof, each time the Tyranids consume a new sentient race, they develop a new warrior form using that race's DNA. They have never produced anything from Custode DNA, as they are yet to eat one, not for lack of trying. If there's one thing we've learned today, it's that being a Craftworld Elder remains the best possible choice if you were to be dumped into the setting of 40k. You know they have people who dedicate their 1,000-year-long lives purely to cooking? That food would fucking slap. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the 400k merch. It's my favorite drop we've done to date, guys and gals. Don't miss out. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more edited content. Join the Discord for more memes and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
So what we've learned today, kids, in order to save your planet from Tyranids, you need to, I don't know.
Oh yeah,
have
the Tyranids are coming! Quick, summon Nurgle, because that's a good idea, Caitlin.
Right? Yeah. It's like,
oh, babe, you're so stupid.
it's like, oh gosh, guys, these are our options. These are our options. Be eaten by ginormous carnivorous space bugs, or, make friends with the literal god of disease.
Okay, citizens, here are the options.
Right.
Option A, we're fucked. Option B, we're fucked.
Right? Yeah.
I would like to stand here and spin you some propaganda, but right now I can't. I'm very sad. And a little bit afraid.
Yep. It's just, oh my god.
We will be repossessing your faux friends for reprogramming as use as killer robots.
I love the dystopian hellscape that is the People's Republic of Truth, Love, and Freedom. Or is it peace, love, and freedom?
Peace,
I can't remember.
Peace, truth, love, and freedom. Basically, it grows every time.
Okay.
The People's United Republic of Peace, Truth, Love, and Freedom.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yep. It's great.
It's like, I'm just going to name this place everything it isn't.
Yep. And the
people...
name's going to get longer every time you hear it.
The United People's Republic of Peace, Truth, Love, Freedom, and Transparency. The flag is a see-through flag, but with the skull and crossbones flag behind it.
Oh,
God.
It's a skull and crossbones, but it's not crossbones. It's a skull, and then M underneath it, arranged out of bones for the man.
Man.
Create an M out of bones now.
Now. What's this?
He says.
Defighting bugs, eat the boys. Defighting bugs, make more bugs by eating. If we grow the boys faster, then the bugs can eat them. The war never ends. The whack.
Now you have to read that in a serious voice.
A serious voice? Okay. The bugs eat the boys. The fighting bugs make more bugs by eating. If we grow the boys faster, then the bugs can eat them. The war never ends.
Hurrah! I agree.
But you got to do it. So in case you haven't caught on yet, Mason, the orcs speak in kind of like a bastardized British Cockney. That's like literally their canon method of speaking.
Yeah.
He says, "You
Okay,
got."
I'll get you.
The
The war never ends.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, boys. This is a right and proper what?
Right, boys, this is a war and proper war.
Well, they don't even say it. Their pronunciation is so. The wah is something. It's not. They're not saying war. They're saying wah, and it's
The wah.
WWWAAAA, and then there's some number of GH. It's like you get the point.
It's
GH
WAAAGH.
or some
Right.
Variation of that.
But it's
What's
the
the
wah
wah?
is it's like it's actually a concept more than a single thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the entire idea of orcs going to war and the symbolic and cultural meaning of going to war for them, because their entire culture is based on going to war. That's like literally all they do.
Yeah. And also, their entire magic thing is based on positive thinking and manifestation.
Well, their entire thing is we make a dewa.
We make the if we paint it red, it goes fast.
And if we paint it purple, it's sneaky.
Exactly.
Have you ever
That's
seen a purple orc? No, you haven't.
Nope.
I hate that now that I've written that Dishonored in Death story, I hate that it like started off as a short story and it was supposed to be completely unrelated and just a one shot, and then I set up this world where I'm like, I want to play in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's kind of how I think about Wolves and Ravens.
I'm like, oh, this urban fantasy setting that I've just like crammed loads of stuff in that I can build off in future. God damn.
That would be so cool.
Yep.
Turn that into a game.
Oh yeah, that would make a great game. Yeah. I feel like honestly, everything between all of us, everything we've written would, well, except for you, Kate. The 2 books you've put out and then retracted would not make a great game. World Next Door might make a good game.
Well, yeah, World Next Door might.
But yeah, Garden of Lies and Bleeding Ground especially would make such a great game.
Yeah, I think that's mainly because both of them are probably written like video games.
Very much.
They're like, next quest. A side quest. Everyone likes side quests.
I actually legitimately love side quests most of the
So
time.
do I.
Like a lot of people bitch about side quests, but I'm like,
It's
fuck
like-
yeah, side quests.
Give me all of them.
Dude, there's games where legitimately I did most of the side quests before I even came close to touching the main storyline. Skyrim probably being the chief example.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I loved Red Dead, because it was just like Red Dead 2, because there was just so many side quests. It was like, yeah, sure, you can go through the main story if you want, but you can go through this whole world that's got loads of stuff in it. Okay, I will.
Yep.
See you in 6 months.
Yeah.
We legit, me and Lee had like at least a day of play where we took Arthur and walked him from one end of the map to the other, but like going along and like collecting all the plants and the food and stuff, and then like finding him a nice place to camp for the night and setting up the camp and cooking the food, and then like moving on the next day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That just reminds me of when me and Eric played 7 Days to Die, which is a zombie survival game, and I was in charge of the mining, and I mined all of our resources, all of our iron and dirt and everything we used, and I just had this excellent mine network. And I always ended up coming up to the surface right as night was coming and the zombies were coming out. I had to run back to base like my fucking life depended on it, because it did. Fantastic. When orcs discover capitalism. All right. I think this is going to be mostly visual, but if it is, I'll narrate. This is a fan made project for Warhammer 40k called the Starties. Okay, so futuristic spaceship in space against the backdrop of the planet. Super soldiers marching down spaceship's tunnel. In the navigation room, looking over a hologram. Astartes sitting in a loading bay. Astartes collecting their guns.
Oh yeah, they pray to their guns.
They pray to their guns. Opening the space doors. Oh, they're about to drop on this planet. They're getting in a landing pod.
I wish audio description was like this.
What?
He says he wishes audio description was like this.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, they're gonna drop out. They're gonna drop on the planet. Oh shit.
All right, we have a first person POV of a rail gun on a little single person fighter jet. It's got assistance drones next to it. They're flying through an asteroid field. We're in a dogfight.
See, here's the problem. This is why I don't think I was.
Oh boy, we're going into the ship.
Amazing saying something.
What'd you say, Mason?
See, this is the problem. This is one of the reasons why I don't know whether I like Red Rising. I think you like space more than I do.
Oh, I love space.
Yeah, like, I find actual space interesting, but space stories just don't really do it for me. Like, even when I used to be a massive Doctor Who fan, it was the time travel episodes that I was in it for, not like space episodes. I was just like,
Yeah.
Okay, well then you will be heartened and re-encouraged to read it, to know that the space parts of it, the space part of it is like 1/5 of it tops.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, say with like a dog fight, I can see why it would be cool, but visually I've never been able to appreciate one, so it's just never been my thing.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I wish I could visually could have visually appreciated one, but it was just all very confusing to my eyes.
Yeah, no. Most of the violence in Red Rising there's actually a surprising degree of physical hand-to-hand and sword fighting, and there's some long range mixed in with it, because they have these awesome weapons called razors. And what a razor is, it's essentially a sword, but it's mechanical, and you can toggle it, and it turns into a bullwhip with a razor blade's edge.
That's ultimately cheesy, but I love it.
Dude, they're terrifying weapons. They're absolutely horrifying weapons.
Unfortunately, my mind just makes everything cartoony.
Of course it does.
I just like... You what, sorry?
You wouldn't be you without it.
Oh, no, exactly. But yes, this sounds cool. Anyway.
Yeah.
He said, well, this sounds cool. All right. We have soldiers running through the bowels of the ship that just got crashed into. Foggy free. Firefight! Super soldiers in badass armor firing at people. Oh, damn, they're just tapping the regular guardsmen. He's these must be heretics.
I love the like the sound production on that. I love how like just before it there was like the intense music and then it was like and then like all that noise and then it just like afterwards it was just like and there's the silence.
I want you to narrate to it. I want to hear what you say. You ever watched Suction Cup Man? It's a narration. No.
He says he may enjoy the other video.
Suction Cup Man.
It's a narration.
You know what I really want someone to do?
What?
I would love someone to create a YouTube channel that was specifically to go through games and read all the written stuff, like all the notes and the letters and stuff that you find in games.
Oh, yeah, that a Let's Play channel that actually does that would definitely be cool. I agree.
Even if it wasn't a Let's Play, even if the video was just like, here's the letters that you get in this game and I'm going to read them.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, essentially what that would be at that point, then, that would be a video game lore channel.
Yeah. It's just that there's so many letters. Like, as you go around in worlds these days, there's so many things that you can pick up and bits of writing and stuff. And obviously, audio description just isn't a thing for video games at all.
Right.
So unless the letter is narrated in game,
right,
there's all these things that I miss out on.
Yeah, that is a tragic reality that I'd never thought of for you. And I hear what you're saying too, because shit. To go back to Skyrim, there's books in Skyrim, and you can pick them up and read them. And I'm actually a little embarrassed about how many books in Skyrim I've picked up and read.
You shouldn't be embarrassed. That's awesome. You're talking to someone who like really appreciates that. I was sort of annoyed the other day. I don't feel like I should name the person because I don't want to throw like shade. But I found this channel the other day. It was a blind gamer, and I know the guy because I've met him at like this blind conference thing that we went to before. But he's blind and he plays games, and he uploads like Let's Plays and stuff, which is like cool and everything because it's like, oh yeah, awesome, you're a totally blind gamer that's like showing people that we can play games. But his videos have no narration to them whatsoever. Like, it's just the gameplay, and I'm like, you're a blind person creating content that blind people can't access.
Yeah, that's
kind of douchey.
Yeah. How does he play the games when he's totally blind?
By learning the sounds. He plays Mortal Kombat because he knows all the sounds for the attacks. So he knows the sound for when someone's doing an attack, so he can like block, and he knows if they've blocked him and stuff like that.
Okay.
And he's big into trying to like push for accessibility in gaming. I think he actually had a company that added something to a game because of him, which is pretty cool. But it's still like, I'm just like, why are you creating content that other blind people can't access? It's just annoying.
Yeah. Like I said, super douchey.
I don't know about super douchey. It's just like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
It's kind of like an obvious missed opportunity, I guess.
The entire thing that I try to do with my channel is, for the most part, make it so that blind and blind and sighted people get like an equal thing out of it.
Right.
There's only been like a handful of visual things that I've done in the entire time that I've done the channel.
Right.
I mean, it's the very reason why I don't appear on camera.
Yep. What happened to that little animation where your eye was spinning and it gave the little sound effect? I noticed you use that like once or twice, but it's not in all of your videos.
I do it for normal videos. I just don't do it for things like like Bleeding Ground and stuff.
Okay. I guess I just don't watch enough of your non-bleeding ground content to
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I don't engage with booktube content very much anymore. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I try to. I've got a lot of mates that I've met through there now, so I just try to keep up with them.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, wait, shit.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny. It's funny that I didn't know this particular work, Chaplain, but I'm actually subscribed to this channel on my other channel. I'm just gonna hit that sub button here on this channel because this channel produces good stuff to react to. Okay, so Mason, have you ever heard of the channel Piemations?
Of what? Sorry.
Piemations, like animation, but
No.
Piemation. Okay. Well, this is from them, and it's called Suction Cup Man Remastered.
Hey, stop climbing my tower with suction cups.
Fuck you, I'm climbing your tower with suction cups.
Why my tower?
Why not your tower?
You're smudging my windows, asshole.
I'll smudge your windows all I want. Look at me go.
Go suction cup someone else's tower.
That sounds very suggestive.
Suck my dick. Get off my tower.
Jay.
It's an expression. Get the fuck off my tower.
No, fuck you.
Fuck you. What's your name?
Suction Cup Man.
My ass. What's your name?
Da. Suction Cup Man. Look at me go.
Get off my goddamn tower this instant.
I can't.
Why the hell not?
Can't go down, dumbass. I can only go up.
What?
I gotta reach the top and right back down.
You can't just turn around?
Of course I fucking can't. What are you, stupid?
It can't be that hard.
I don't see you climbing a fucking tower with suction cups.
Give me a minute.
Oh no.
What are you doing?
I have plungers.
Oh, this is getting real.
I'm coming for you, bitch.
You are going to kill yourself.
Fuck you. Watch me.
Oh my
I
god.
assume you're pretty fucking stupid.
Fuck you. I didn't become a billionaire by being an idiot. I have 4 degrees.
Oh my god.
Hi, get the fuck down!
Suck my dick.
This is illegal!
I know that, but fuck you anyway.
Fuck you!
Fuck you.
Fuck you!
Hey, I wrote you a song.
What?
It goes a little something like this. Fuck you.
Oh.
Fuck you!
How did he play the music sound?
With his mouth.
It goes a little something like this. Fuck you.
In my head, Suction Cup Man was just Zack.
I could see it.
I can just hear him. Fuck you!
I could see it.
Fuck you! I'm climbing your tower.
Fuck you. You can't kill Suction Cup Man. Look at me go.
Well, son of a bitch.
Suction Cup Man is coming around. My sucking powers have no bounds. Suction Cup's already shit. I'm pretty hot, you must admit. Do not test my sucking power. I'll climb your tower in just an hour. You can't kill me, I'm way too cool. I'm sponging up your windows full. Piemations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. We have to watch more of these.
Yeah. John Wilson. Pretty damn funny. Motherfucker picked the plungers.
It's totally not realistic. Nobody actually has plungers.
Shut up, Mason.
Yeah. Or the plunger.
We all know that you have a plunger until you need a plunger, and then there isn't one anywhere in the house.
Right, exactly.
I mean, why would you even have a plunger? Why would you want to churn the dookie butter? That's disgusting.
Right.
I once knew someone whose family, whose toilet frequently got flushed, and they had a stick that they kept by the toilet to break up the poo that was blocking the toilet.
That's disgusting.
Oh my god.
That's legitimately repulsive. Why would you not? Why would you not just replace the toilet? That is so gross.
Needless to say, I never went to the toilet in that house.
I
Yeah.
don't blame you.
Don't
I
blame
wouldn't
you
go
at
to the
all.
house. Like, that is so nasty.
Oh my god.
It's like, dude, why don't you ever come over and hang out? Dude, your family uses a stick to unblock your toilet. There's nothing in that house that's clean.
In all fairness, it was a boyfriend of a friend of mine, so it wasn't someone's house that I had to go to often.
Okay, good.
Chaplain says that's traumatizing.
It was to me. Imagine needing to go there. Like the first time I ever went there, and like go with my friend, and we like go to this dude's house, and we're drinking, and I need to go to the toilet, and then all of it, I'm like, "What's this stick? Oh yeah, that's the shit stick."
That's the shit stick.
That's the shit.
What are you talking about? The shit stick? It's the shit. It's the stick we use to push the shit.
Oh my gosh.
That is gross. Humans are gross.
Man.
We're gross animals.
They can be for sure.
Okay.
I don't miss being a teenager.
No.
No.
I used to, but not anymore. We were talking about that the other day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That, and yesterday with the dude at the gym, he was like, "I wish I could go back to being 18," and I was thinking, no.
No.
Oh yeah, you're saying
from
you're saying.
yesterday.
Well, he said he wished he could go back to being 18 with all the knowledge he has now.
Mm.
And under that caveat, oh yeah, I'd do it 100%. Do you have any idea how much Bitcoin I'd buy, dude?
Yeah.
I would buy like a grand of Bitcoin and just wait until it goes up to like 64,000 and sell it all, and I'd be a multi-billionaire.
I don't know. I don't even know if they're on the stock market, but I go back in time and buy stock in Rockstar.
Why Rockstar?
Well, they're just one of the biggest game companies in the world.
Oh, Rockstar Games. I thought you meant the drink.
No. No. Don't be stupid. No, I'm in the game company.
He's like, "Don't be stupid."
Oh, that's funny.
How much money do you think they made even just from GTA 5? Like insane.
Right.
They've made so much money from GTA 5 that they've taken 10 years to make the next one because they're like, we don't need to make the next one right now because we're still milking cash out of this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Bethesda and Skyrim. They're like, guys, we have successfully struck gold.
Yes.
We're just going to milk this cow until it's dead. And frankly, probably after.
I actually went to the midnight release for GTA 5.
Oh my god, of course you did.
Oh man.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a very you thing to do.
It was in my defense, it was like right after I moved to uni, like literally the week that I moved in at uni. So I knew no one. And someone that I knew was like, "Oh, I'm going down to game for the GTA 5 release at midnight. Are you coming?" I was like, yes, please be my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That dude
So
was a
this-
dick, though.
So this next one, Mason, I've shown you stuff from this guy's channel before. This is Andrew Russo. The guy who invented fondue is the name of the video. You ready?
Ready, awaiting, Captain.
Excellent.
Maru.
Yo, man, so what we cooking tonight?
Bro, I'm so sorry. I forgot to go grocery shopping again, man.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, all we got is some of that old bread and like a whole bunch of cheese. I really don't want to do just like cheese sandwiches again, you know? I mean, what else can we make? What if we sort of cube up all that bread, melt down all that cheese, put it all in a big pot, and sort of dip the bread in the cheese and slurp it all down? Who are you? That could work. How'd you get in our apartment? Wait, won't our fingers get burned by dipping the bread into the hot cheese? What if we make some very, very long forks with teeny tiny prongs? Dip the bread into the cheese.
That can't work.
Really, really long forks with tiny little prongs. It's adorable.
Yeah, so what, we each have like our own bowl of cheese and we...
Nah. one big pie, community-style cauldron of hot lava cheese.
Is this like a snack or is it a meal? Is it dinner? Is it lunch?
What if we just decide that it is a full meal and it is fun, fancy, and a little sexy too?
Can we do this? I mean, this is legal. It's sort of limiting just to like dip bread into cheese. It's not like a whole.
You can dip anything you want to. This melted cheese is God's sauce.
God, no.
It's melted cheese. It's God's sauce.
We can dip anything we want. It's melted
Listen to me.
cheese. It's God's sauce.
You can bless anything with the cheese.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how we feel about that goat cheese. We-
Bro, Mason, me and Caitlin recently discovered the glories of herbed goat cheese. Bro, this shit, I could eat this shit like candy, dude. It is amazing.
I love that. That's quite possibly one of the weirdest things you've ever told me, and I love it. I love this. I love this immediate merging of the two of you now that you've moved in together. It's great. Been living together for a couple of weeks, and you're already discovering goat's cheese.
Yep. Yep. Or, you know, I introduced him to mozzarella-filled meatballs.
Oh God, she made me dude. Caitlin is such a good fucking cook, dude. If we ever come visit you, you gotta let her cook for you. And she made these fucking meatballs, Mason. She put mozzarella inside the meatballs she made. And Mason, I felt like I was eating Gordon Ramsay's cooking, except I legitimately believe Kate's probably a better cook.
Of course you do.
Well,
There's a place near us that does like a burger that's filled with cheese, and me and Dan lovingly call it the cheesy death. And we only order it when we're very, very drunk.
nice.
Legitimately, I feel like that's all of Caitlin's food that she's made me so far. It's like, this is food you eat to sober up, except I only eat it when I'm sober. It's so greasy and salty, but it's so good.
When a woman cooks your greasy, salty food, you know you've found a good one.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
It's
know
like
you've found the one when she makes you salty, greasy food.
Exactly. I might die at 70, but I will die happy.
And with a full stomach.
And full arteries, might I add.
I see what you did there. That was a very nice science-based pun, I must say. I had no idea you were so well versed in the anatomy.
Well, you know, my daddy, he had the heart attack one time, and so I kind of had to learn about it. It's a necessity.
That more or less makes you a doctor in my book.
I reckon you're not far off there, partner.
Yep. Oh man, Maru. He said GTA 4 best GTA.
Best GTA in terms of story, gameplay, mechanics. I really like the friends system. I feel like that's cool the way it works, but there's a lot to be desired in terms of like actual like the guns and the driving and stuff. I don't know. I actually quite like the driving system in GTA 4, but the guns I'm not so much for.
Okay, I'm gonna hit play again.
It's not like a whole.
You can dip anything you want to. This melted cheese is God's sauce. And he accepts all forms of communion. Wow, this is our world now. We make the rules.
Who's we? You just came into our apartment and started like making up crazy things. What should we call this new dish? You know, I'm not really fond of this whole thing.
Well, I'm fond of you.
Oh dear.
Fond of me?
Fond of you.
Fond of you.
Fond of you. Fond of you.
Fond of you.
Fond of you.
Fond of you.
Fond of you.
Fond of you.
Fond of you.
Fondue.
Fondue.
Fondue. Fondue. Sure. Call it fondue. I mean, it's kind of fun. Wait, this feels so free and like exciting, but like, what do we do for dessert?
Well, I actually do have just a whole bunch of chocolate. But, what if we sort of melt down all that chocolate into one big pot? And then use our very, very long forks.
You're starting to believe.
Dip all kinds of sweet junk into that pot of chocolate. Hey, boys, what? That's awesome. Sounds like something we could do. I mean, I'm having fun now.
We won't have a bowel movement for many days. But we will have a delicious time.
Wait, didn't the Swiss create fondue and not some like big old strange Appalachian mountain man? Oh yeah, fondue was made by the Swiss. Right? No.
Oh man, that completely subverted my expectations because I was expecting him to go fuck, but he didn't do it.
No, he did not.
Oh,
Yep, 'cause
man.
that's
He was
kind of-
staunch in his convictions.
Well, because that's kind of his trademark
It really is.
is have that really dramatic music play, and he gets right up into the camera and he's like, "Fuck."
Now, Mason, we have two options here.
Mm.
We can continue with Suction Cup Man, or we can check out the latest from Wizards with Guns.
Oh my gosh.
You can go with that.
The latest from Wizards with Guns?
Yeah.
Okay. So
They have two of them.
this one is called Under. Okay, so we can pick between This Guy Tried to Roast His Grandma at Her Funeral or Undercover Boss, but the boss is evil.
Go with that one.
Okay.
I know Undercover Boss well, so I'll get the jokes.
Okay. Nice.
We left off. Coffee chain CEO Michael Staffords went undercover as a new hire to witness the day-to-day performance of his employees.
Oh, they got the voiceover spot on.
To put Michael to work.
I mean, yeah, first we're going to start off with wiping some tables. It's pretty easy. You just wipe back and forth, making sure there isn't any residue or...
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm the boss. I'm the boss of this whole company.
What?
Watch. I'm the boss. I can do that. But don't tell anyone.
He just
Don't
pushed
tell
him for
anybody I just did
context.
that. So I'm not going to do this. This isn't my job. I'm serious. I own everything here. It's all mine. I own you.
I own you.
It still sounds like Ben Shapiro.
So what I like to do is let them air dry, and then I use the spray. So what you can do...
Yeah, I'm not going to do shit. I'm the CEO of the company. Michael Staffords. Here, I Googled it. Look, that's me. This is me. This mustache, it's made up. I'm not going to do any of this. I went to Dartmouth. I'm not going to wash
Cup?
yeah, I'm not going to clean that. I'm not going to wash that.
Now that Mike's rolled up his sleeves and gotten his hands dirty, he's got a little announcement to make to his fellow employees. It's time for the big reveal.
For the prizes.
Oh my god, dude.
Hi, everyone. Oh, wow. Are you Michael Staffords, the CEO?
What?
Who told you? Who told him? You're fired.
What? Why?
I'm undercover. I'm the undercover boss. You ruined it. Get out.
You're fired.
Leave your shoes. We gave you those. I'll call the cops.
Leave your shoes. We gave you those.
I'll call the cops.
Oh my god, dude.
Daquan.
When I told you how I single-handedly built...
So he said Daquan, and then it went to the dude, and it popped up on the screen. His name is Tyler.
I love the inspirational music in the background, considering that he's
I
probably
know.
about to give him very bad news.
I know.
This company from when my dad gave it to me. You shared with me how your dog died the same week your mother passed away from cancer. And yet you came to work every single day. And as I sat there and listened to your story for 30 or so minutes, I couldn't help but think, wow, I am so bored. Not only did you waste my time, you wasted the company's time as well. You're fired. Go.
Wow.
Ruth, your work ethic inspired me. And you mentioned you only needed $10,000 to pay off your student loans. Well, I have $10,000. I
In
actually
my
have
bank
way
account.
more than
What was that, Mason?
In my bank account.
Right,
Right.
exactly. Literally, he's about to say that.
$1,000. I actually have way more than that. I'm super rich. It's awesome. Anyway, I just bought a robot to do your job. You're fired. Bye-bye. Tabitha. Girl. You've been working here a long time. When were you hired?
I think in January of.
And when were you fired?
I don't. Today.
Today. You were fired today. Get the hell out.
What the fuck?
Oh my gosh.
I got a lot out of this experience. I got
Yeah,
this.
and I think you'll probably be getting a bullet in the back of the head at some point soon.
I would say that's a reasonable assumption.
Again, this neat mustache. Plus, a lot of money from doing this show. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a very busy schedule. I have to go cheat on my wife. That's me. This is me.
I have to go cheat on
It's
my
the
wife.
Wikipedia page for pizza, yeah.
Daquan.
Oh, my
Tabitha.
God, dude.
Girl.
Of all their skits they've done,
All right, we got it.
this one was not my favorite.
Yeah. The other
Yeah,
one.
it was all right.
The other one might be better.
This one down here, the most cursed magic items on the market, is probably one of my favorites from them.
Yeah, we watched that. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the one with the genuine warty butthole.
Yes. Yes, with the witch's butthole. And it had a
That's the one.
witch with a hair. Ah. Man. That's great.
That's so great.
That's so great. Like, oh my god. What?
Adventurous. Team
What?
Adventurous with Sharon Osbourne.
It's so great.
My God. You guys are unstoppable.
Yes. I know, it's great. So funny.
How much has she been doing that to you? I really want to know.
Actually, not at all.
Not at all. Oh my goodness, we have a bot. Hello, bot.
We have a bot? No, well, wait, I want to read. What did it
It
say?
says my private photo here. Is
Oh.
all it said.
Gave a link. Okay.
Yeah, it's my private photo.
It's just a robot in loads of sexy poses.
Yes, it's like, hi, I'm a robot.
Take a look at my fruits.
Yeah, it says girls for XYZ. And I'm like, what?
My binary code is excellently formed.
It's so nice.
Yay!
Perfectly sculpted binary code.
Yep.
Are you familiar with green text stories, Mason?
Am I? No.
Okay, well, this is a channel that reads green text stories from 4chan.
Go to Psych Ward. Play cards all day with a bunch of very interesting people. Read 3 books while I was there. Food is good. Get to have favorite drink with every meal. Get a lot of free comfortable clothes and socks. Get to watch a lot of cool movies I hadn't seen before. Group therapy twice a day. Get to socialize and hear about the lives of other messed up people. Very interesting experience.
Too long,
Made up
didn't read.
actual friends. They prescribed me lithium. Made me not want to actively kill myself anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Get to chill with no true responsibility for over a week. Psych Ward was
This is
pretty-
legit that voice that you were doing earlier. That I said was Adam Sandler.
What?
What'd you
I said
say?
it's legit the voice that you were doing earlier that I said was Adam Sandler.
Is it the same voice, Caitlin?
It's kinda, yeah. Apparently, Jonathan, he says that voice kind of sounds like Kermit.
Oh, you know what we were supposed to check out, but then didn't?
What?
The fucking Crypt Keeper.
Oh yeah, that
Your mother is the Crypt Keeper.
God, ain't that the truth?
guy. No, bot, go away.
Poor little fellas. When I think of their childhood, all those cute little maggots. Our story is about a man with nobler ambitions. He likes to kill human pests, and he does it in front of an audience. Now that's entertainment. Hang on to your hats, kitties. This one's a real shocker.
I love that laugh. It's so brilliant.
What a revolting development. And when
So for context here, there's this animatronic puppet on the screen, and it's a desiccated, decaying body, and this character, the Crypt Keeper. This is from a show called Tales from the Crypt, which was it the 90s that this was on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was basically a horror. It was a horror anthology before horror anthologies were cool.
Well, there was Are You Afraid of the Dark, which was a late 80s.
I said before they were cool. That doesn't mean before they existed.
Alfred Hitchcock Presents was pretty cool.
I said.
And The Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone wasn't horror. The Twilight Zone was speculative fiction.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I would classify Black Mirror as horror. So I know Black Mirror and
horror, but it was later.
yes, I know, but I'm saying, Black Mirror, Twilight Zone. You got the similarities there.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of similar.
Whatever, fine. I'm just gonna.
Alfred Hitchcock.
I'm just gonna play. Fuck you guys.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Switch.
Just admit you were wrong. It's fine.
No, never.
It just goes to show you what happens when you get too caught up in your work. When you get caught up in your work.
Oh my.
Don't worry, though. I'm sure he never knew what hit him.
This is my guy.
Girls, safety first.
Oh, that laugh is amazing.
Oh no. So funny. Ah. Oh, this is Nosferatu vibes.
Hello, kitty. Oh, the Crypt Keeper having a little holiday fun. Why else would I be in this getup? Unless there was a clause in my contract.
He's wearing a Santa Claus outfit with a Santa Claus mask.
I gathered. It was very subtle subtext, but I'm analytically smart enough to dig in and catch wind of it.
He's like, I followed the deductive reasoning trail of breadcrumbs. I heard the jingly bells on his boots.
So I was following the crouton-sized breadcrumbs.
Yes.
I mean,
I love croutons.
I was following the slice of bread-sized breadcrumbs. Kidding.
I was following the loaf of bread.
The loaf of breadcrumbs.
Loads of bread. Pencil chucking him over his shoulder.
Dude, speaking of breadcrumbs, me and Caitlin went to the gym the other day, right? And the gym is in this big business complex, and there's several restaurants and a big grocery store. So obviously, a lot of scavenger birds gather there.
Yeah.
And we had some, and I had some tortilla chips that I had in a box in my car from a Mexican meal a couple weeks ago. I was driving around with them specifically to feed to the birds when I had the opportunity. And so I take these fucking breadcrumbs, I take these tortilla chips, and I start throwing them out. And the fucking seagulls, who I hate, start stealing the chips from the smaller birds and the crows and the little cowbirds, who I actually like.
Yes.
And so I'm like, okay, fuck you guys. So I crumble them. I close my fist and reduce them to crumbs so the fucking seagulls can't get it with their big clumsy asshole beaks. Dude, we had a fucking swarm of birds. It was Alfred Hitchcock bird swarm levels.
I had that with pigeons a few months back when we went to feed the squirrels in the local park, and the fucking pigeons were like, "Oh my god, it's got food! Get him!"
Right? Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, the one pigeon.
The one solitary pigeon, because there was all these cowbirds, but there is one pigeon. Just one. Which is kind of funny because, pigeons are usually community birds. So it just kind of made me think, hey, I think this guy thinks he's a cowbird, because pigeons are of the type of bird that, they are of the type of animal, kind of like pigs or raccoons or ducks, that if you raise them around a certain kind of other animal for long periods of time, they begin to think that they are that animal. So there are all these little bitty cowbirds, and then this one big dopey pigeon. Just this one.
Those
solid
bastards give
pigeon.
no fucks either.
Right. I'm just thinking, this poor little guy thinks he's a cowbird. And they're all letting him think that because he's bigger than they are. So they're like, hey.
They're like, look, if he wants to pretend to be one of us, you just let him.
Right. They're like, we can use him to intimidate other birds.
There's nothing intimidating about it.
Yes, I may be a small little sparrow, but have you met my friend, Pigeon?
Right.
Pigeon, come here. What's up, boss?
This is so funny.
Introduce yourself to our friend here. I'm Pigeon.
Oh, it's so great.
He's one of his little talons.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I wonder if Hobo Wars still exists.
What? Hobo Wars?
That's what I said.
Sounds unethical.
Oh my god, it does still exist.
You have a pet pig, Chaplain?
Wow, Chaplain.
Really?
You are the best, mate. I was talking to Lee. I probably told you the story, but I was talking to Lee the other day about how I will never forget the first time I ever touched a pig and was utterly shocked by the fact that they were furry. Because my eye had just never picked up that they were furry, and the only pigs that I had ever seen were toy pigs, so I just assumed that pigs were like leathery skin sort of creatures.
Yeah, a lot of people have that misconception, but pigs are hairy.
I went to a petting zoo and I like touched one, and I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck? I've been wrong all these years."
Can't believe Pogo Wars still exists.
Yeah. He says, okay, so you don't have a pet pig. Oh
Ah, so you were just telling us porkies.
well. Ha 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 ha.
Look, it's almost wrap up time. I'm tired and I like shit puns, so.
Yes.
I feel like your life is a mix of shit puns and unresolved trauma.
That's what I'm hesitantly naming my memoir.
Shit puns and unresolved trauma, a Mason in the Dark memoir.
That's great. Oh.
Shit puns and unresolved traumas, the life and times of Mason in the Dark.
It all started when I was born.
That's when the existential dread set in.
Experience.
Which is a what? Kate?
Which was a very traumatizing experience.
By definition, yes.
Being born.
I mean, considering that my first surgery was at 3 days old.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of why I said it all started when I was born, because I know that.
Yeah.
And yet here I am. Strong.
You're blind and chubby.
And you're a cunt, but we can't change who we are. So...
Oh God, I wouldn't trade this friendship for anything.
Oh my goodness.
Except maybe $1 billion. Maybe I'd trade it for $1 billion.
Oh mate, I'd trade you for a Snickers.
Oh my gosh.
You dick.
He's like, I'll be sure to check out the channel, brother. It's been a lot of fun, you guys.
We appreciate it. Hi, Chaplain.
Yes. Thank you for coming in. And
Take your vitamins, say your prayers, stay good.
Yes. He said I'll keep the notification on, yeah? Until next time, stay away from furries.
Okay, I'll stay away from furries, but if I get a chance to fuck Lola Bunny, I'm fucking Lola Bunny. I'm just saying. I'm not above bestiality if it's a Lola Bunny.
Why do I associate with you?
I don't know, man. Alrighty.
Oh.
We are going to wrap up, though.
Yeah.
I appreciate everyone who is here. This has been Team Adventurous. We'll be back next week.
Mm-hmm.
We upload reactions as they pop up throughout the week. Mm-hmm. You can check out our other channels. Don't go to Adventurous Publications unless you like politics. But yeah. And we stream on Twitch every day, as you're about to see the thing for. That last comment I saw. Unfortunately, Jonathan, no, because we get off at 2 because Mason has to go, and the whole point is for all of us to be here together. We might do a reaction. We might react to Suction Cup and the series. I don't know. Maybe. All right, guys. Peace out.
Peace.
Done.
Dun,
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 dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun, dun.